Hello, 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 hello. Oh my goodness, it's so good to be with you. Hi, it's Dr. Susan Pierce Thompson, and it right now, as I speak here live, is Saturday, November 20th, 2021. Saturday, November 20th, 2021. So good to be with you, my dears. Oh my goodness. So we have a lot of people here, and it's a very international crowd today. I cannot wait to share some of these hellos with you. You've probably been already seeing them in the chat thread. If you're not in the chat thread, go check it out. It's amazing. And here are some of the folks. We've got Wendy back from Hawaii. Wendy's been here a bunch this week. We've got Christopher from Albania. And Christopher notices it too. Wow, internationals in the chat tonight. Yes, we've got Sabina from Germany. She joined the All Access membership today. She says, woohoo, I'm so excited to be a part of this incredible journey. Fabulous. And Shua from South Africa is here. Welcome from South Africa. We've got Jana says, hello, so excited about the new BLE membership. We've got Gilbach from Cornwall in the UK. I remember you, welcome back. We've got Diana from Washington, so excited to learn more today. Yes, Diana, you will be learning more today. We're gonna talk about the 3 main potholes that people fall into when they're happily living bright so that you don't fall into them. We've got Liz here from Kansas City, Missouri. We've got Sue from the UK. We've got Beth Wade in California. Hey, Beth, how are you doing, sweetheart? We've got Alexandra from Macedonia. Hey, Alexandra, good to have you here. Deb from Queensland, Australia. Susan from Dayton, Ohio. Ava from Sweden. Dana from Pennsylvania. We've got Texas, California, Michigan, Washington. Annette from Newfoundland in the house. Hello, everyone. Beautiful. All right, so I have some announcements. Number 1 is please hold your questions until the Q&A portion. The reason is if you ask them now, I'm not answering questions now, so it won't get answered. It'll get buried in the chat thread. And if you hold your question and wait and ask it when I'm doing the Q&A, you will get your question answered and you'll still be around to hear it so that I can answer it and you can hear the answer. So hold your questions, please. Just write it down. If it's bursting in you, just write it down right in front of you so that when we get to the Q&A, you can ask it then. Registration status. As of just 16 minutes ago, we had 5,866 people who've registered for an all access membership, 5,866. Customer service update. On day 1, we had quite a customer service snafu. This kind of thing happens sometimes. It's rare. Sometimes it happens on the wrong day. And that's what happened. On Tuesday, which was the beginning of Right Ticket Week, Google's DNS server went down, which threw out all kinds of big companies like Spotify and PayPal and Braintree. So Braintree is our credit card processor, and a lot of people pay through PayPal. And what happened when those outages happened is that some people, this wasn't talking to that anymore. So people noticed it wasn't going through and they kept clicking. So a lot of people were charged multiple times and their credit card actually got dinged multiple times. And some people, because this wasn't talking to that, some people paid but then never got access to their all access membership. Like the post-purchase process never got triggered, essentially. So what the deal is we have all of what we need to rectify everything. And the customer support team is just working around the clock to fix it all. It's like just a big backlog of work, and we've got to go one by one and clear it up for everybody. And we're on track to get that done by Sunday night. Okay. So by tomorrow night, we should have all that done. So we're prioritizing people who are charged multiple times, getting their credit card all straight so that the excess charges are back on their card, so they're all clear. We're also prioritizing getting people access who didn't have access. What that means is we're a little slower to answer other questions right now. So if you're writing into support wondering what kind of credit was applied when you registered, like if you're a Bright Lifer and you're wondering what kind of credit you got, please go to the invoice email that you got when you registered. You were sent immediately an invoice email. right when you registered. Go to that email. And even though it shows what the total is, that's the total that doesn't count what you got credited. That doesn't exactly mean that that's what you are charged. Please click on the link. There's a link in your invoice email, and that will take you to a place where you can see the prorated discount. So now, if you do that and you get the answer you needed, and you've written into us before asking for help, if you asking like, what's that amount, please go back to the support center at support.brightlineeating.com and just let them know I'm all taken care of. I found the number I need. I know what my prorated discount was, so that they can just, our system will show your first request, hey, what's my prorated discount? Then your next one, I got it, never mind. I found my invoice email, I clicked myself and I figured it out. And that way, nobody has to take the time to go look it up and answer your question, okay? It does take time to do that, and that'll save them time to work on the other people who are needing their account rectified. So the problems are fixed now, so don't worry about registering now. This was just a day one problem. It was a fluke in the, you know, in the cloud, in the tech world that runs all this stuff. There are glitches that happen. It happens. So anyway, so yeah, it's totally being fixed. We're on it. You don't need to write into support for it to get fixed. We know everybody that needs to get fixed, and we're fixing it. We're just going through fixing it as fast as we can. And thank you to the tech support team who is fixing all this. And thank you to you for your patience. I know this is tremendously frustrating, especially when your credit card's been charged multiple times. I was in the Bright Lifers Facebook group last night, and some poor gal, not kidding, you can't make this stuff up, right? Some poor gal was on vacation and clicked and clicked and clicked, and her card got charged 6 times. And then it was like close to the limit. She's like, I'm on vacation. I need to be able to put stuff on my credit card. So I saw that and I was like, oh no, we got to help this woman. So I reached out to our director of customer support, and she texted me right away and she said, we've already refunded her everything as of yesterday morning. She's all set. So don't worry, Susan, she's all set. Anyway, we're doing our best to get everybody settled. So thank you for your patience with us. Thank you for breathing with us. And we apologize that this happened. It's so frustrating and annoying. And it's just, yeah, wouldn't it be better to live? I don't know if it would be actually, but I was going to say, wouldn't it be better to live in a world where random stuff like that doesn't happen? I don't know though. I don't know, like that kind of like lockstep world where everything's perfect. I don't know that I want that world. So anyway, I guess this is the price we pay to live in a world with as much randomness and coincidence and beauty, is that sometimes there's like unfortunate randomness that comes at us. So if you want to register for your all access membership, there is a gold button down below this page. On this page, there's a gold button down below where it says go all access. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at our preview for today. Let's go ahead and just check out what we're doing today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. How do I do that? Technology. Here we go. Share screen. This one. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Okay. Preview of today's live stream. So we're doing our getting started stuff right now. We did our hellos, very, very international hellos. I am excited to say that the poll will have some international flair again today. We're doing our preview right now. That's what this means, the preview of what's coming in today's live stream. And heads up, we do have a poll again today. If you haven't been with us, if this is your first live stream during Bright Ticket Week, there's a poll that you need to fill out, or you don't need to, but I invite you to. It's super fun. If you do, go ahead and look down below my video, and there should be a blue button about taking today's poll. So click there and take the poll. You've got plenty of time because I'm going to do my presentation first. I'll be doing the presentation today about the 3 main potholes to avoid when you're happily living bright. Bright line eating is pretty good at getting people started on living bright. And then oftentimes we as human beings, we mess it up somehow. And I want to talk about the 3 main ways that we mess it up and what to do about that, what the potholes are, how to avoid them if you're happily living bright right now, so that hopefully you can just tootle along and never have to deal with this, and how to get back on track if you're, you know, at some point in the past, you've fallen into one of these potholes. Then we'll do the poll for today. We're going to have a conversation with Shawna, Keele, Murph. Looking forward to that. I think we're going to have also maybe a conversation or two with some other people. We've got the leaderboard that we'll take a look at, the Bright Lifers leaderboard. I can't wait to look at that. My husband has been watching it himself. David came into the kitchen this morning and he said someone's over 100. They've got over 100 referrals on their Bright ticket code. Amazing. And then of course we'll do Q&A. So that's what we're up to today. And there we go. Screen sharing stopped. Okay. So I think we're just going to go dive into our presentation. Hey, I think that's it. Let me just check my sheet here where the team kind of guides me through what I got to talk about. I think that's it. We've got some winners we're going to talk about. I'm excited about that. And yep. Okay. All right. Here we go. The 3 main potholes. Okay. I think here we go. All right, the 3 main potholes to avoid when you're happily living bright. Oh my gosh, I went on to Google to find a picture of a pothole and I was like, that's one. That's one. That's New York City, I'm pretty sure. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Yeah, so there are some potholes. Some of them actually feel just about like that. You know, that's the kind of pothole you fall into when you're a 10++ on the susceptibility scale. That's about what it feels like. All right, so outline for this presentation. We'll do an introduction just to frame up the topic that we're talking about. Then we'll cover pothole number 1, what it is, how to avoid it. Pothole number 2, what it is, how to avoid it. Pothole number 3, what it is, how to avoid it. And then how to get back on track, strong and fast. There really is kind of a formula for getting back on track. Take it from me, I've had to do it enough times in my life. Okay, so let's cover our introduction, the basics. So in bright line eating, we learn to take control of our brain to get it to work in our favor. We establish bright lines and we use the bright line eating program to solve our food and weight problem. When we arrive here, most of us are not aware, but we become aware because I teach you that we've got 3 main problems, actually. We think we have a weight problem usually when we get here. Some of us have clued into the fact that we have a food problem, but really the problems are a problem with willpower, which means a problem with execution over the long term in terms of what we intend to be doing with our food, what we want to be doing with our food, what we know we should be doing with our food, and how much that differs from actually what we are doing with our food over the long term, especially in clutch situations. So that's a willpower problem. We also have a hunger problem, maybe not when we're eating whatever, whenever, because we don't let ourselves have a hunger problem then. But as soon as we try to do something about our food and our weight, lo and behold, we end up having a hunger problem. And a lot of us, even when we're eating whatever, whenever, we discover we have this weird new kind of hunger called insatiable hunger, which means that even after eating a full meal, we still want to eat more. It's the weirdest thing. But that's a hunger problem too. And we have a cravings problem, meaning we crave eating certain things. We crave, you know, we get a hankering for something and we have a hard time not going to get it. And the reason there's keys in these circles is because solving the food and the weight problem, the key, right, is to solve this problem, this problem, and this problem. That's the key, is you got to solve those problems. So we create a bright line for sugar and flour. We draw a line in the sand. And what happens is our brain changes pretty rapidly. Insulin comes down fast, leptin gets on board, and suddenly we find we're not hungry the way we used to be, and we're feeling pretty happy, and we feel like moving. And we stop flooding the brain with dopamine because we stop eating sugar and flour, and those receptors replenish, and our cravings subside. Our hunger and our cravings both go down over the course of, say, the 8 weeks of a bright line eating boot camp. They both go down to really, really low levels. And it's not just letting go of sugar and flour. It takes a system. We have to incorporate a comprehensive system to take the load off of willpower. That includes all 4 bright lines. The first 2 bright lines, oh my gosh, I just learned this from a Bright Lifer this year, unbelievably. But a Bright Lifer clued me into the first 2 bright lines, sugar and flour, handle the substance addiction. And the second 2 bright lines, meals and quantities, handle the process addiction. So we need 4 bright lines. We need planning, preparation, habits, support, an emergency action plan. And when we put all this into place, we find that our willpower becomes more resistant to depletion, and we see improvements in every area of our lives, not just our food and our weight. And we find that it really works. It's amazing. It really works. And we look around and we're not alone. It's working for other people too. It's remarkable. And we might start to feel like, oh my gosh, it's the dawn of a new day in my life. It really is the dawn of a new day. This is amazing. And then sometime later, we may find ourselves stuck. We may find ourselves stuck. Usually this happens because we break one or more of the bright lines, and then either right away, dramatically, or over time, insidiously, we find ourselves stuck. So, what's the first pothole that people tend to fall into? Pothole number 1 is the trifecta: complacency, cockiness, and overconfidence. Complacency, cockiness, and overconfidence. So this to me is the biggest one. I warn people about this all the time. Do not take this for granted. Do not take this for granted. It seems easy now. When you don't have it anymore, it's often not that easy to get back. When the system is working and it's locked into place, and one day at a time it's happening, there is some mystery to it. There is some magic to it. And what happens now, here's a hypothesis that I've developed. This is not a tested or proven hypothesis. It's just a working hypothesis. But I plan to do some research on this. And if I can demonstrate that this is true, it will be a remarkable thing for the addiction literature. But we know that there are these circuits in the brain called go and no-go circuits, and they inhibit each other, meaning that it's sort of like a switch. One set of neurons is on and then the other's off, and vice versa, like a seesaw, right? You can't have them both up at the same time. You can't have them both on at the same time. Go and no-go circuits. And what happens is that when we're bright, I'm not sure which one it would be. Maybe it's the no-go circuits that are on, right? It's the no, we're not eating. We don't eat that stuff, right? And the no-go circuits are operative, right? And then as soon as we break that, it switches, and suddenly the go circuits are on and the no-go circuits are inhibited. It's quite a phenomenon. Those of us who are very, very high on the susceptibility scale have oftentimes experienced a baffling and profound powerlessness. Once we pick up some food, it becomes very, very hard to not cave again and again and again and again. So here's the other problem, is that cockiness, complacency, overconfidence, they can set in regardless of where you are on the susceptibility scale. You can start to run experiments that kind of work, meaning, they don't lead to a binge, they don't lead to huge weight gain, but you can start to sort of play and dabble with around the edges of your bright lines, and suddenly find yourself in patterns that are very, very hard to break. Patterns of eating after dinner, say, or patterns of, breaking, oftentimes it's lines 3 and 4 where people do this. where I see this a lot, where people are keeping to lines 1 and 2. They're not eating sugar, they're not eating flour, but suddenly they get lax about the meals and the quantities. And what happens over time is that they lose their freedom, their weight starts to creep up, but mainly they just don't feel as good about themselves, about their journey. And they're in this sort of wonky zone where they're just not feeling bright. They're not feeling peaceful and at ease, right? They're constantly feeling like, oh, I'm not doing it right, or this isn't, and it's like, I'm a big one for removing the should around all that, right? Like if it's actually working, call it working. There's no bright line eating police around here. What I find is that people often themselves don't feel like it's working, like legitimately don't, right? It just isn't, it's not how they want to live. It's not the kind of person they want to be. They want their food integrity back, right? So here are some of the signs that complacency, cockiness, and overconfidence are in the mix. Number 1 is drifting away from the community, right? Not being conscious of the blessing and not being there to give back and do some service, right? Like just sort of taking the gift and drifting away and thinking, I got this. I don't really need to maintain it, right? I've got this. So drifting away from the community, literally like letting a membership lapse, not renewing for Bright Lifers, not taking any Bright Line eating courses, like not staying connected to the community, not staying involved in doing sort of ongoing growth. Stopping writing down food the night before, generally speaking, just sort of taking it for granted, And it can be hard to remember to take it for granted. I'm guilty of this in my alcohol and drug recovery, right? I'm never tempted to smoke crack or do crystal meth or anything anymore. Sometimes I get tempted to drink alcohol, but I don't. But for me, I still go to meetings, not as often as I used to, but I still go to meetings to be reminded, because so often I'll be at a meeting and someone will be like, I had, X number of years sober, a lot of years, right? I had a lot of years sober, 8, 20, whatever. And I drank again. And I'll listen to their story and I'll go, yeah, that could be me. That could totally be me. So just being in the community to be reminded that, to be reminded of what it looks like and sounds like when people are struggling with the food, right? To have that presence of mind of like, oh, it's a very big deal to have this problem solved, arrested, right? 63% of people are dying too young and in pain from lifestyle related diseases, lifestyle conditions, heart disease and stuff like that you don't need to have, right? Heart diseases, there are communities where there's like prevalence rates of heart disease of like 0, like 0.1% of people have heart disease. Like you just don't have it. When you live a certain way, you don't get heart disease. Heart disease is not something that you just get because you're getting older. It's because of, a certain way of eating and living. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, these are conditions of lifestyle, right? You're living in a way that produces it. So stroke, all, COVID, right? Not just you can get COVID, but like a bad case of COVID it's a disease of comorbidities, right? 85% of people who have died of COVID have had 2 comorbidities. It's a condition of overweight, obesity, and comorbidities, the lifestyle diseases that are related to overweight and obesity, right? Like it's a huge deal to have it arrested, so just to be around people who are still struggling, to be reminded of what a blessing it is to have that problem removed, right? So let me go back and share my screen again. And that's the first pothole. The solution, of course, you got to get back on track. I'll tell you how. That's going to be at the end of this presentation. Really critical. The solution to this, first of all, is to acknowledge and surrender to every last bit of food addiction that you have on board. Oftentimes, people develop complacency and overconfidence because they don't quite ever let sink in whatever degree of food addiction they actually have on board, that it actually is a fatal, incurable disease that requires consistent treatment. People don't want to believe that. It's kind of a scary thing to think about yourself. Like, oh my gosh, I have a fatal, incurable disease. It will kill me if I don't treat it. Yeah, I am not the same as all the people that I see eating that way, right? Even if they have a weight problem, a lot of them do not have a brain, right, that's as high on the susceptibility scale as some of us have, right? Another part of the solution for this one is fostering that attitude of gratitude, which I've been saying really, one of the ways to do that is to stay in the community and be around to serve other people who are struggling. Now, if you get back on track after having a lapse due to overconfidence, complacency, cockiness, the great thing about that is that you then are there to be of service to others, to really be that person who says, look, I took it for granted. I've got it back now, but oh my gosh, am I grateful? Am I grateful now in a way I wasn't before, right? Do not take it for granted. And you can then be of service to help other people get back on track who lose their bright lines out of just complacency and overconfidence. All right, pothole number 2. The second pothole is not doing the inner work. Not doing the inner work. Oh my gosh. Look, you know what? We ate for a reason. We ate at a certain point because we had brains that were hijacked and just wired to eat. But it was also a strategy, right? A coping strategy. We were eating for a reason, emotional reasons, relationships gone awry. Eating became our first line defense for stress, right? Our primary reaction to stressful situations in our life was to eat. And doing the inner work is absolutely necessary. You've got to become someone who doesn't need to rely on food anymore for coping, for stress relief, for comfort, for entertainment, for pleasure, right? Food is pleasurable, but I'm fond of saying, I love it when I thought of this analogy, right? Food is pleasurable. My meals are pleasurable, but no more than a hot shower, like a really, really nice thing, but not something that I think about before or after, right? Like I enjoy it when it's time for it, and then it's done, completely done. And it's great that I get to eat 3 times a day. I'm a fan. Sometimes actually I'm annoyed by it these days because I got other stuff I'd rather be doing. But that's it. Any amount of relying on food beyond that is stuff we got to address in other ways now. We need to develop different coping strategies. We need to develop an ability to, for example, handle our resentments and our angers and our, irritations at people. People are maddening. Let's be real. People are maddening. The closer to us they are, the more likely they are to really get us going with their ways that are not what we would prefer. right? And it takes a lot of work to orient ourselves toward the people in our lives in a way that's really helpful and doesn't require a lot of sugar and flour to cope with it, right? It really does. It takes a lot of work. So one thing that distinguishes people who are able to stick around here for a long time, bright and peaceful and happy, from those who are not, is the people who stay in the game of doing the inner work, who basically fall in love with the gentle but consistent process of growing and up-leveling as a human being. People who fall in love with that as a hobby, as an endeavor, as a fascination, as an orientation toward life, are the ones that are likely to stick and stay and be able to stay bright around here. So let's talk about what the solution is. Obviously, if the pothole is not doing the inner work, the solution is to do the inner work. I get that, right? That's not rocket science. But how do you do the inner work? What does that mean? Well, I'm fond of often saying it doesn't mean that you got to get into therapy and talk about your mother and like go back through your childhood with, you know, a shovel and excavate every last skeleton buried in the backyard. Doesn't mean that. It means you got to stay attentive and use the daily things that come up, the daily conflicts, the daily challenges, as trailheads and walk down those trails. Oh, this is really bothering me, this situation. Why? Why am I so upset about this? And walk down that trailhead and see what parts are there, what they want to say to you, and also look at the relationships that continue to be a source of challenge, right? And you're going to need to do some work on those to orient toward them differently. Where are we being codependent? Where are we trying to play God and, you know, arrange everybody else's lives to suit us, right? Where are we being judgmental? Where are we being overly sensitive and, you know, taking things too personally, making assumptions and thinking it's all about us, right? When really that other person, it's not about us, it's about them, what they're doing. So we use the daily conflicts and challenges as trailheads. We take BLE courses. All of the BLE courses are about doing the inner work. Every last one of them. Every last one of them. Because here's the thing. Sometimes the inner work is, I got to get to bed earlier, right? You know, doing the inner work might mean we got to look at our habits. We got to look at our disciplines, our commitments to the daily pattern of bright living that's necessary around here. It's not just, you know, I've got to do deep forgiveness work, you know, about my father who left us when we were little. It's not just about that, right? It's about all the things that relate to living bright. We will notice as we're trying to live bright, what we need to pay attention to will come up each day. And all of the Bright Line Eating courses will help shine a light on that stuff. Will help put it in front of our face, help us stay aware of it. Develop relationships with people who are doing their inner work, right? There are people who are non-conscious and don't think about this stuff. And that rubs off, it's contagious. And there are people who are about growing, changing, and up-leveling. And that rubs off, it's contagious. So stay in our community, the community of people who are really doing this. The community of people who are invested, who are committed, who are showing up, who are posting, who are all about it. You want to know who you are? Look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's who you're becoming more and more like every day. Do you have people in your inner circle who are committed to their inner work. And don't shame, don't get furious, get curious. Curiosity is the linchpin when it comes to doing the inner work. Just noticing, getting aware, and then getting curious. Oh, look at me, I'm really agitated about this. That's interesting. I wonder what that's about. All right, pothole number 3. Continuing to focus on the food and the weight. Staying stuck in a loop where it's still about that. Look, once you get the food plan and learn how to write down your food and get the food on the scale, within about 2 weeks of doing bright line eating, it should stop being about the food and the weight. Honestly, this is not about the food and it's not about the weight. Within about 2 weeks, you should be moving on to other stuff. So many people come here for the vanity, but I want you to stay for the sanity. It's okay to come for the vanity. That's fine. But for this to be what it can be for you, right? It's got to get beyond the food and the weight. This is really a prescription for flourishing in life. Flourishing in life. Happiness, gratitude, meaningful service and contribution to the world. The quiet peace and joy that comes from a life that's being well lived, that's in alignment, in integrity, what you want for yourself. That's what's available here. And if you think that just fitting into a skinnier pair of jeans is really what you want, think again. That is not what your soul is calling for. I promise. I promise. It's a very, very, very good first step to start eating bright and to be on a path where if you've got a weight problem, it's getting handled. I'm all about it. I'm a super big fan of that. I am not someone who thinks, oh, it doesn't matter, just keep eating yourself into an early grave. Obviously, that's not my perspective, right? But I urge you not to keep focusing on the food and the weight. And I think we do out of habit, out of fear. Is there any other reason really? Habit, I think we just are used to that, right? So many of us have spent so much of our lives consumed with the food and the weight that it really is a monumental change to stop focusing on that. And the fear, I think, is the fear of what would it mean or what would have to change to stop focusing on that? Like, would it mean, like, I remember when I first got, my food squared away, no sugar, no flour, 3 meals a day. My fear was that I would have to leave my marriage. That was my fear. I'm so blessed and happy with my marriage right now. Just David and I are doing great. We've been married 22 years. We're coming up on the 23rd anniversary of meeting. We're going to go away for a few days. But he and I are very different. And I think after we married, I think there was a little bit of a rude awakening of like, oh my gosh, like, wow, we're really different. And I was eating addictively really hard in the early years of our marriage. And that's when my weight climbed and I became obese and I was super depressed and super miserable. And I just didn't know what I didn't know. I mean, there was this feeling of like monsters under the bed, right? Like if I get present to my life, what will I find? What will I find? And I think I was afraid that I would find something I didn't want to see in my marriage. It's not what I found. I got my food in order. I got my weight off. I got super happy in my marriage. And yeah, we moved to Australia, and, you know, I don't know, it's not what I found. But I think that oftentimes people have an area in their life that feels scary. Maybe it's career, right? Like, if I stop focusing on the food and the weight, I'll have to face whatever it is, that I never had a career, that I'm not happy in my job, that I'm feeling called to start a business, and that feels scary. You know, there's so many ways that could manifest, right? Or maybe it's relationship, right? Like if I stop the focus on the food and the weight, I'll have to face that I never had children, the pain of that. That I'll have to face my relationship with one of my children, or all of my children. I'll have to face the reality of my parenting. I'll have to face that I'm caretaking everybody and doing for others. And I'll have to face that I got to stop that nobody wants it. And I've got to stop. I've got to focus on myself. If I stop focusing on the food and the weight, I'll find that I'm lonely, that I'm alone and I'm lonely. That if I stop focusing on the food and the weight, I mean, there's so many ways that this can manifest. Can you see it? Right? But what I find is that when we stop focusing on the food and the weight, and we allow ourselves to become aware, with a bright and a sober mind, these things are okay. They're faceable. Like the scariness of them just melts even just a little bit, just under the gentle gaze of our bright and sober selves. I think we stay focusing on the food and the weight out of habit and out of fear. Out of habit and out of fear. And I think a lot of people, after being bright for a while, develop little patterns of wonkiness with the lines, or big full-fledged breaks and resumes, so that the food and the weight will stay center stage, so that they won't have to face the what's next of the next chapter. And they don't even know they're doing it. So what's the solution to excessively focusing on the food and the weight? Grow your life. Focus on relationships. Develop hobbies. Get curious about your purpose in the world. And mostly just let whatever's there be there. Just try not focusing on the food and the weight, and just get curious. What's there in the vacuum? If it's not all about the food and the weight, what's there? Just resolve to not have it be all you need. I swear, all you need is 2 bright weeks consecutively for it to not need to be about the food and the weight. If you're not bright, you got to make it about the food for a bit, and you got to get bright. And after 2 full weeks of being bright, just let it not be about the food and the weight. Then you're in a rhythm, your food is handled, your weight's on its way to being handled. It certainly doesn't help to think about it. It's not an issue either. Weigh yourself once a month, be done with it. Then just be and get curious. What's here in the space? What's here in the space? It's not about the food and the weight today. So what's it about? Such a good practice. So if you've fallen into one of these potholes, how do you get back on track strong and fast? There is a basic formula. If you haven't heard me say it, you haven't been around here much. There's a basic formula. You line yourself up some accountability, ideally someone to commit your food to. And then you write down your food for tomorrow. You commit it. And then when the next day dawns, you eat only and exactly that. That's it, baby. Take it one day at a time and then repeat. That's it. Do that for 2 weeks and you're in a whole new universe. One day at a time. The rest is in our mind. The reason that's not hard. It's not complicated. It's very simple. The only thing that makes it hard is our minds, right? Our relationship to the scale, our body dysmorphia, and our obsession with this body, that body, all the bodies, our feelings about ourselves, whether we will or won't let ourselves succeed, our habits, our relationships and the communities we belong to. Often we just feel weak and not up to the challenge of all this, just frankly, not up to it. And you know what? That's really natural. It's about being human. The key is to line up support for ourselves, to ask for help, to get ourselves some help. And put ourselves in an environment where positive change is the norm. So in the first live stream, I talked about a bright beginning. And 97% of us said we felt the need for a bright beginning right about now. And I did a lecture on beginnings, and I'm going to give you a little reprisal of it right now, just a little refresher, because this is the answer to getting out of any of those potholes and getting back on track fast. It's to focus on having a strong beginning. Because the scientific truth is that beginnings matter. They matter. The strength of the beginning impacts the entire endeavor. Your entire experience with bright line eating from now until forever rests on the strength of your beginning, your bright journey. Did you start strong? Did you follow the plan? If not, will you now start again strong? Because your fresh start doesn't have to be your first start. Restarts are just as important. So the way to break out of one of the patterns that might have entrapped you, or to get back on track after falling into a pothole, is to start again strong. Use a temporal landmark. Very psychologically real, these temporal landmarks. They create the fresh start effect. You can use one of the days like January 1st if you want, or you can use the day we're creating for you right here. Look at this right here. The day you claim your all access membership during Bright Ticket Week and become an all access founding lifer, or the day Brightline holiday starts, which is Tuesday, November 23rd. And if you're in the United States, yes, right during Thanksgiving week. Absolutely, you want to get bright before Thanksgiving. For sure. Sailing through Thanksgiving and experiencing your strongest, brightest day on Thanksgiving will be the best wind in your sails you've ever experienced. Bright Thanksgivings are the best, the warmest, most connected, most soul nurturing days imaginable. So allow bright line eating to give you a fresh start, to strategically create a turning point in your personal history. Look at all this work the Bright Line Eating team is doing. Look at all this work I'm doing for you. All of this community support rallying together right now, it creates a strong, fresh start effect for you. If you feel weak, if you feel not up to the challenge, ride on our coattails a bit. We're doing this together. Start together. Starting with others is one of the best ways to make a fresh start last. Tap into the power of synchrony. It's the power that makes singing in a choir as healthy as exercise. Physiologically, mentally, emotionally, on every level, as healthy as exercise. It creates an upward spiral when you do it together. It creates feeling good, improved social cohesion, better synchrony, stronger attachment, more feeling good, and the spiral continues up. We're doing all of this together. Over the next year, think about what that kind of synchrony can do for your bright journey. Start or restart your bright journey now together as a founding lifer during Bright Ticket Week, and use the power of synchrony to your advantage. It is a new day. It is. It's a new day. We are on a very clear, very powerful mission together. 1 million bright transformations by 2025. We've got 4 more years to get 1 million bright transformations. 4 more years. And then 5 years after that, we want to see global obesity trending down. That is a massive endeavor, a massive endeavor. We're starting with the year of maintenance. Maintenance is the key. We're going to keep tracking those bright transformations. And if people regain their weight, then they haven't had their bright transformation. It's got to stick. It's got to stick to count. So we're focusing on teaching people how to make it stick. You want to be around for this. I'm telling you, you do. And the fun begins with a brand new course that you will automatically be enrolled in the moment you become an all access member. It starts on Tuesday and it's called Bright Line Holiday. It starts this Tuesday, November 23rd. It's about how do we stay bright during the holidays? Starting Tuesday, we're covering this. How do we stay bright during the holidays? Can we not only not gain weight, but shockingly lose weight throughout November and December? We can. What are the key tools for navigating holiday parties, gatherings, and events? How do we put words to our no thank you? How do we strengthen and empower our relationships while taking care of ourselves with food? And how do we put our head on the pillow every night feeling grateful and warm? And how do we tap into the real meaning of the holidays? It's normally a $500 course, and I'm inviting you to join it for free as an all access member. It will be included in your all access membership. You'll get a front row seat to creating the course with me. And then right after Bright Line Holiday, we will do Reboot Resume together. Reboot Resume will start in early January and go until mid-March. And it's the perfect course to lead into maintenance, because if you're really struggling or in the ditch, it gives you a very powerful resume. If you're wobbly at all, it helps you to shore it up. And if you're shiny bright, it teaches you how to dive deep into your food, your actions, your support to create the most robust program you've ever had. It helps you take your program to the next level. It's a very powerful course. All that is tilling the soil, getting ourselves prepared and ready for maintenance. The maintenance trifecta is 3 courses. Maintenance 1, all about the psychology. Maintenance 2, about landing the plane. And maintenance 3, about moving on beyond the food and the weight and navigating the maintenance dance long term. That will be 2022. Now, keep in mind, the maintenance courses are for everyone who imagines that they might ever want to be living at maintenance. Speaking of which, there's questions about this in the poll today. If you've just joined us recently, make sure you've taken the poll. You need to look down below this screen, below my video here. Look for the blue button that's about taking the poll. Go ahead and click, please, and take the poll for today. We'll be going over that soon. So in other words, the maintenance courses are for you. They're for everyone who imagines that they might ever want to be living at maintenance. They're for you. The new all access Bright Lifers membership that we've created is $50 a month, where you get for this, the boot camp. You can take the all access membership and Brightline Holiday and start the boot camp if you've never done the boot camp at the same time as Brightline Holiday. Right away when you get into the all access membership, you can start in with the boot camp. It gives you your Bright Lifers membership. It gives you Brightline Holiday, Reboot Resume, the maintenance courses, all the courses and deep dives that we launched throughout the year. Coming soon, you'll get access to some old courses, Brightline Mind, Brightline Grit, Monique Rhodes's mindfulness meditation course training, archives of the curriculum so your access never goes away. If you're not a current Bright Lifer, ask around. I'm sure there's someone willing to share their code with you. Whoops. We're talking here about Bright tickets. This is a Bright ticket. This is mine. A Bright ticket is a keepsake. This is the keepsake. It's also a coupon code that's in our system. And if you can find a Bright ticket coupon code, you can get the all access membership at a different investment level, at a discount this week only. So the all access membership, normally $50 a month. That's what it will be in the future. The next time it will be offered will be around Reboot Resume time, Reboot Resume January 1st. Over the course of 1 year at $50 a month, you would spend $600 a year. That, of course, is way less than the approximately $3,000 that you would have spent in the old way of doing things for everything that you would get in your all access membership. $600 a year is way less than the $3,000 it would cost. But if you get an all access membership this week, you can have a price of $40 locked in. Locked in meaning next month, the month after, it will not go up. In perpetuity, you will be locked in at $40 a month. And if you decide to pay by the year, you can have it for $400 for the year with a Bright ticket code. You can also have access to 5 years of all access. That's $3,000 at $50 a month, but you can have it right now at $1,750. This 5-year all access membership is not going to be available again at this price ever. And we don't plan to offer the 5-year membership. I'm not sure, maybe once a year or something like that. I'm not sure. You get founding lifer status with an all access membership in your profile and in the app that will be built. It will, you will be a founding lifer in our community, meaning you were here during phase 1. We're now transitioning into phase 2 of Brightline Eating. All these people are here with us on the path, experiencing what it's like to start Brightline Eating, to do it, to recommit as needed, to get out of the ditch, to get back on the path. Some get bright and stay bright consecutively. Some need to resume. That pothole? Yeah, it was just the beginning. All right. So good to be with you. I am excited to go over our poll results. Let's go over our poll results together. Let me find our poll results. Here we go. Oops. There we go. The poll for today. All right, what continent are you on right now? We've got South Africa in the house. We've got Europe. We've got North America. We've got Australia and Oceania. This is the time during the week, Saturday afternoon Eastern time, when you can catch most of the world in at least somewhat awake hours. We still have about 89% of people in North America. So today I decided to break it down a little further. So if you answered North America on the previous question, are you located in Canada, Mexico, Central America, the Western United States, that's 35%, the Southern United States, the Midwest, New England, or the Mid-Atlantic? There we have it. When did you first hear about BLE? We've got more old timers than newbies here today. Old timers, 43% of folks heard about bright line eating more than 4 years ago. All right, welcome to everyone who heard about bright line eating more recently. Oh my gosh, look at this. We have got returning people. We have got a cadre of people who are dedicated to these live streams. Almost 60% of people have been here for all 3 of these live streams. Amazing. And we've got 7% of people who are here for their first live stream. Welcome. Welcome everyone, welcome back. Right now today, are your lines bright? 67% of people are saying, yes, my lines are bright right now today. And 33% of people are saying no. Have you ever been bright for a decent stretch of time? We've got 17% of people who are saying, no, I've never been bright for a decent stretch of time. What an opportunity. What an opportunity. What an opportunity to give bright line eating a real strong try right now as Bright Ticket Week is coming to the end. We've got Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then it will be over. We are not extending it, even though we had major tech snafus on the first day. Registration is open, it is strong. You have 3 more days to figure out what you're doing. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and registration will close as promised at 11:59 Pacific time on Monday night. Now, what I want to point out here is we have 83% of people who say, yes, they've been bright at one point in time for a decent stretch of time. And we've got 67% of people. So we've got 16% of people, 16% of people who are not bright right now and who have been bright for a decent stretch of time in the past. 16% of people. So that's the percentage that this like getting back on track after falling into a pothole pertains to. And my guess is that some percentage of these folks as well who are bright today have experienced some wobbles in the past. And sure enough, look at this. Have you ever broken your bright lines? 87% of people have broken their bright lines in the past. 13% of people have not. They have crystal vase recovery. meaning they just started and they are tootling along, you know, one day at a time, tootling along. This is a glorious state. It really is. I have it with drugs and alcohol. I've never picked up a drink or a drug since getting sober 27 years ago. And it is such a beautiful thing to just keep on keeping on one day at a time. And this path here is paved with a lot of learning and a lot of deepening. Those breaks become breakthroughs. Are you planning to register for the All Access Bright Lifers membership this week? We've got almost 80% of people, 79% of people already have. And we've got about 13% of people who still plan to. And we've got about 6 or 7% of people who are not sure yet. In the Q&A, if you have any questions where I could help you get sure, I'm totally here to help. And not to convince you, but like literally to actually help you make an informed, empowered, wise decision for you. Sometimes that's to not do it right now or not do it at all. Okay. But 13% of people still plan to. Do you need a bright ticket code? We still have 13% of people on this live stream who need a bright ticket code. Most people already have one. Please, Bright Lifers, type your bright ticket codes into the chat box right now. People need a bright ticket code. If you need a bright ticket code, go look in the chat box right now and just grab a piece of paper or grab your smartphone. Capture a bright ticket code so that when it's time to check out, you have a bright ticket code. You need a bright ticket code to check out to get your all access membership. All right, so that was today's poll. And you know what I need is I need the, like what we're supposed to do today. Preview of today's live stream. Here we go. All right. Today's poll. Oh my gosh, you know what's next? Our conversation with Shawna, Keele, Murph. Let me show the screen here of our preview slide. All right, so we just did today's poll, and now we're having a conversation with Shawna, Keele, Murph, then our leaderboard and winners. We actually have more than one winner today, and then a Q&A. All right, Shawna, Keele, Murph. I cannot wait to talk to you, my dear. There you are, sweetheart. Hi, Shawna.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, how are you, my dear?
I'm so great.
Yeah. Why are you great, sweetie?
I am so blessed. So good to see you.
It's good to see you too. It's good to see you too.
You make me emotional.
No, I'm sorry.
In a good way.
I'm not sorry. Shawna and I first met in 2017. Shawna was a winner in a contest we had going back then in 2017. She was randomly drawn. This was a contest around the publication of the first book. I'm looking around to see if I don't have the first book with me right now, but the first book, Bright Line Eating, was launching. And we were, it was back then that we created the 14-day challenge. We created the 14-day challenge for that book launch. And the marketing gimmick, if you will, or whatever, was if people would buy the 14-day challenge, I think it was $29, they'd get the book for free. So we bundled the book with the 14-day challenge. I forget why we did that. I think, whatever, there was a reason for it. But anyway, we bundled these things together. And then we had these contests that were going. And I think over the course of the week or whatever, we gave away 5, I think it was, like mega fancy coaching packages where someone would get the boot camp and a year of Bright Lifers and private coaching with me for free. And it was like a $2,000 or $3,000. Do you remember how much we valued it at, Shawna? A couple $1,000 or what did we?
$2,000, yeah.
A couple $1,000 coaching package. And you got randomly drawn out of thousands of people. Your name got randomly drawn.
I know.
And I called you, and what was that like for you? Your phone rings and it's me.
I was at work and I saw Rochester, New York, and I thought, oh, another solicitor. And so I wasn't going to answer. And then I thought, Rochester, New York? Who do I know in Rochester, New York? So lo and behold, I answer it and it's you. And I couldn't even believe it. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be in New York for your book launch. And you said, yeah, I am. And actually, you've won. And I remember it was coaching or a spa day. Do you remember that? It was a spa day. And I was like, I won the spa? I won the spa? And you were like, you won the coaching. And I'm like, oh, I've got this down. I've got the 14-day challenge. I'm good. Thanks.
So funny.
And then, yeah, you were like, well, are you, how far away are you from goal? I said, I have no clue. I was 170 in fourth grade, so I have no idea. And then you're like, well, I think you could benefit from this coaching.
Totally. So isn't that funny? You know, in this presentation that I just gave right now, did you see the presentation I just did now, Shawna?
Yeah.
So that overconfidence effect, right? Like there you were, bright all of 5 seconds, right? You've done the 14-day challenge. You're still going on it. You're like, now you're on day 60 something of the 14-day challenge. You're like, I'm good. Like I need nothing. I don't need any support. I don't need any coaching. You were about to turn down the coaching package with me. You're like, no, I don't need it. Give it to someone else. And I'm like, wait, what? Sweetheart, you probably do need a little more support than you're thinking you need. You never would have been in Bright Lifers or done the boot camp and ever if you hadn't won that package. You never would have done it.
Oh no, because the book had not even been published. And so literally the 14-day challenge was all that I knew. And I felt like I could check it off, like done, got this figured out.
Yeah, all figured out.
Little did I know.
So now with the Vantage Point, you've been doing this now. You have crystal vase recovery, right? You've been doing this without a break for 4 years.
4.5, yeah.
4.5. And with your Vantage Point now, having transitioned to maintenance, so you've been at maintenance now for coming up on 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What didn't you know then? What weren't you seeing then?
Oh my gosh, great question. Because I honestly, my whole life had been dieting in private. I didn't want anyone to know that I struggled. I mean, it was obvious I was struggling, right? Because I just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But I didn't want people to know that it was my struggle. And so I didn't want anybody looking in. I didn't want support. I didn't want to do it with people knowing that I was going to fail. And so I was just going to do it privately, just do it alone, figure it out on my own. I didn't need people checking in. Oh my gosh, whole different experience. The community is essential. Because what happens, Susan, is that if we do it alone, we feel like an odd duck. We feel like, oh, I'm the only person in the world not eating flour and sugar and weighing and measuring my food and only eating 3 times a day. But when you enter this loving community, when you enter this unbelievable connectiveness, you realize you are not doing it alone, and it makes all the difference in the world. You feel empowered. When I get on that accountability call every morning at 5:30, I feel every single person on that call. I don't know who's on that call, but I feel them, and I sense that we are linking arms and we are doing this together. One meal, one weighed, measured, bright meal at a time.
You get on the accountability call every morning at 5:30?
Every morning.
Oh, Shawna, you're such a dear.
I love it. I love it because if I don't, just like you said about the overconfidence, I get obesity, amnesia.
Yeah.
I've stopped remembering how hard it was to roll over in bed. I forget what it was like to drop something and literally sigh and think, oh, am I going to pick it up or leave it? You know,
Yeah. And Shawna, how tall are you? And what was your highest weight?
I'm 5'6", and
you're 5'6"?
I was 260 at the highest recorded. There was probably more, but 260.
All right, I always like to do this. I'm going to the BMI calculator. BMI calculator. Do you know what it's going to say? What your highest BMI was?
Bad.
Did you just say bad?
It was bad.
5'6" and 260 pounds. Oh, yeah, it's extreme morbid obesity. It's a BMI of 42, which is class 3 obesity. What do you weigh right now, Shawna?
132 to 135.
132 to 135. Shawna, you're just killing me here. You're maintaining 125-pound weight loss.
And what's amazing about that
BMI is 21.8 at the high end of your range.
And what's amazing about that is that, Susan, I have been a yo-yo dieter my entire life. The lowest I had ever gotten was on my wedding day at 182. And I touched that number for a hot second and was up over 200 within a month. And so for me to maintain a 5-pound range and to be in a bright body, doing everything that I've ever wanted or desired to do, is nothing short of the heavens opening and just declaring it a miracle. I honestly cannot believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I just looked at that number. On your wedding day, you were barely not obese. And probably from the cake you ate on your wedding day, you were obese again by the next morning. I gained a lot of weight on my honeymoon as well. I dieted for my wedding day, and this was before I knew about not eating sugar. And yes, indeed, very, very, very painful. Oh my dear. Oh my dear. So it's so interesting because you were handed the keys to the kingdom, right? With the 14-day challenge, and it started working and everything, and you just didn't know what you didn't know. Like it was going great, and you just thought you were good, and you thought you didn't need any more support.
Well, I wasn't going to do it after the 14 days. I was just going to do it for 14 days, just long enough to zip up my pants. And then I was going to go back. But by the time the 14th day came around and I had 2 straight weeks of my taste buds changing and regenerating and forgetting the things I had been eating 2 weeks prior. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, okay, I'll do it a 15th day, because I had already established the routine of preparing my food the night before, making it, not just writing it down, but making it, because I played this game where how little can I touch my food the next day? And so if I don't have to touch it other than to warm it up, toss it, stir it, then I've just won the game. So on the 15th day, I thought, well, I've already made my food. I might as well do it another day. And I did. And then I thought, well, darn it, this automaticity, I'll do it a 16th. And, now I'm like almost 1,800 days in.
So what I just said in this presentation, it's so your truth. 2 weeks, you get 2 weeks in, and it's a new life. Like beyond that, it doesn't need to be about the food and the weight. It's just about the wash, rinse, repeat.
Absolutely.
I love
it. Yeah.
And Shawna, you help people. How many people are you sponsoring right now?
Oh, I don't like saying, because I want them to each feel like they're my only one.
You're such a dear. I love you, Shawna. I love you. You're amazing.
If I give a number, then they're going to feel like just a herd of animals, and I don't want them to feel that way. But it's a good steady amount, because my promise to them is what you promised me, Susan, and that was that just get the weight off. We aren't meant to do weight loss forever. We're meant to do maintenance forever. So I sponsor for 6 weeks. I let them get that automaticity down. Then I send them away to do their work on their own or commit their food to someone else with the promise that as they enter maintenance, I then take them back and I hold their hand for 3 to 4 months, get them set for maintenance, which is what you did for me. So I'm just paying it forward.
Shawna, you do. That is the sweetest thing. The sweetest, sweetest, sweetest thing.
Well, that's what you did for me.
You're such a dear. Shawna Keele Murph, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
I love you, sweetheart.
I love you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye, honey.
All right. Now I'm going to go back to all right, just getting clear. Oh, we've got some love for Shawna in the chat. Everyone loves Shawna. Shawna, you're amazing, so inspirational, says Sue. Kenya Ryan says, I so relate to this, Shawna. It's so hard to be vulnerable and open up to others. I'm learning, though, that that's where the magic is, fully leaning into the program now. Suzanne says, Shawna and Susan, I cried at the opening. I'm so emotional. I love the spa reference. So happy you took the winning package. All right, Eric, why don't you come on live, sweet Eric? And Shawna, go ahead and I think you can just go ahead and leave the Zoom, Shawna, and just go watch on the main live stream page. Here we go. Thank you, sweetheart. And Eric, how are you?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah, we can hear you great. Are
Great.
you in San Diego?
I am. Yeah. Yeah. I realized it's been about a year since we last spoke on video. So
That's right. Can I tell everyone how we know each other? Oh, did you freeze?
yeah.
There we go. Is that okay if I tell everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You froze, and I was like, "Oh, did I say the wrong thing?" But you froze for us. So, Eric, I had a personal assistant job open, and personal and executive assistant. And Eric applied for it, and he was our top candidate. He sailed all the way through the application, all the way through. And then we got to the very, very end, and there was like this heartbreaking sticking point of like, oh, Eric didn't want to move to Rochester because San Diego is a better place to live than Rochester. And I couldn't really deny that. Well, you're right about that. So maybe it's not meant to be. So we parted ways, but I've been watching you, Eric. You're just so beautifully involved in your boot camp house and in the community. And it's just delightful. So how have you been in the last year since I talked to you last?
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely was the right thing to do. It was really difficult because it was definitely the dream job. Like, I just feel like my world would have opened in such a positive, healing way and been part of this overall mission. So it's felt good to be part of the community in general. And people say I'm inspiring and that I've helped them. And because of a post in another community, they joined boot camp, and it just feels so great. I had some challenges right shortly after I got a new job. So that's in my 2-week period. I ended up getting COVID. I lost like 10 pounds just laying in bed, and it was kind of hard coming back from that. I found myself just feeling super weak and thin and wanting to almost eat myself back to health. So it wasn't health, but I never turned to sugar and flour. I would say I'm in that kind of gray area with portions, and but I'm feeling really optimistic. I'm doing well.
Got it. Did you consider just adding a bunch of food to your food plan to sort of?
That's what I've done. So I'm good on my weight. I'm about 185 pounds. So I'm 6'2", so I'm in a general range that's good. I had been in the 170 for 3 years. I've been on maintenance about 3 years now. So I reached out in the community and got tips on just how to add in more food so I can stay at this weight and just be like good at this weight.
Yeah. Nice. Good. So you're right where you want to be right now. This is kind of like,
I'm really, I feel really good and healthy and just like really like focused on the mental health, the freedom, like that's what's important. I would say I first signed up because of, well, I first was interested because of the weight loss, but as soon as I saw the, like in your book caption on Audible, like the psychology and science of why we're addicted to food, I was like, sign me up. And that's the part that I'm really focused on now.
Got it. Got it. Well, I have some news for you, Eric. You were randomly drawn by my team in the last 24 hours, and you've won a 5-year all access membership for free.
Oh, wow. That is crazy.
It is.
So
It
I was wondering if that was the reason. So I made a commitment if I was going to win a membership that I would donate it to someone that is more in need. My work pays for like health club memberships like so much a year. And it's not 100%, but it's almost 100%. So there's someone I have in mind. I won't say their name. I know they're struggling a little bit. So I would like to donate that to this person if I could just reach out to someone separately.
I'm sure my team will allow that. So you figure it out, be in touch with my team, and that is amazing.
I'm very grateful. Like I could use it, but I know there's someone out there that could use it more. So I committed that I would donate it if I won.
That's the bright spirit of generosity, Eric. I love it, love it, love it.
Yeah,
love
absolutely.
it. Thank you for paying it forward. Beautiful. What are you most excited about in the year of maintenance coming up?
So I have had crazy thoughts about alcohol, which just like I've been sober for about 14 months. I'm really strong. Like I think I've gotten complacent and just kind of taken support for a little for granted. So I'm looking forward to the holiday program. I'm looking forward to Reboot Resume. Like I know, like exactly like you said, back to basics, commit your food or write your food down, commit it. That worked for me in the past to start strong. So I'm looking forward to Reboot Resume and then just learning more about the psychology of maintenance. I'm really excited about that.
Nice. So it sounds like you're looking forward to a lot, like all of it.
Yeah, all of it. And when you announced the price, I almost fell off my chair, like 50 a month. I thought it was going to be more because I was paying like 40 for Bright Lifers. And then when you said it's 40, I'm like, this is the best thing ever. It's like Christmas came early.
Nice.
So I realized that, 40 a month isn't, I might take that for advantage, but I was already paying that and I love the Bright Lighting community and the support. So for me, like the social clubness of it was great. And now we get all of these other courses ongoing, which will just keep us, so much closer to the mothership and on track. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that.
Beautiful. Oh, Eric, so sweet to talk to you, my dear. Good to see you again. Good to see you.
Yeah, great to see you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, honey. Bye.
Bye.
All right. How are we doing now? Let's look at our preview here. Leaderboard. Let's check out today's leaderboard. Eric Roos was today's winner. Let's check out our leaderboard. And I also have yesterday's winner to announce as well. Yesterday, I took a day off, Friday. Fridays are my one day of the week that I take off. And Dory Wexler was our winner for the 5-year all access pass from yesterday. So just to be clear, Eric and Dory have won 5-year all access memberships because they're Bright Lifers who have had at least one person redeem their coupon code. We're making it so that people can win just by having one person redeem their coupon code. And there are people who are going to win a free all access membership because they're having lots of people redeem their coupon codes. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the leaderboard for today. So this was updated as of 2:43 p.m. Eastern time today. And this is the Bright Lifers leaderboard. Drum roll, please. Brrr. Woo, here we go. Rose W. Oh my gosh, look at this. We have a whole new person in the top 3. Jessa J has broken into the number 2 spot. Look at that. Rose W has taken a decisive lead with 115 Bright tickets redeemed. She hit 100 at about 4:30 p.m. yesterday. She was the first one. Now 3 more have entered that over 100 zone. Together, these top 20 What? Together, these top 20 have brought 1,173 people into the BLE fold who were not formerly Bright Lifers. Unbelievable. And Jessa J just came out of nowhere. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Thomas B is still in the top 5. Krista M is right up there. Nikki is still right up there. And Jessa J has taken over the second spot. Rose W has taken a decisive lead. Formerly, Rose and Nikki were neck and neck, and Rose has taken the lead. There we are. And we see an even clearer demarcation of the top 10, where the person in the 11th spot, Kathleen, is significantly below the top 10. We've got people in the 40s down here, and to get into the top 10, you have to have at least 50. Amazing, amazing. All right, everyone, it is time now for our Q&A together. So now is the time to post your questions. It is time for Q&A. Post your questions in the chat. My team will gather them, cull them, and put them into a document for me, and I will now be answering questions for the rest of this live stream. Here we go. Questions. What are your questions? All right. Oh, we have one other thing too. We have today's pop-up winner. Oh my gosh, my team has just informed me. We have today's pop-up winner. Can we get today's pop-up winner into the Zoom room by any chance so I can talk with them? I doubt it. We could try. Why don't I answer questions for a little bit? She's here in the chat today. She's international. Why don't you try reaching out to her? See if you can get her on Zoom. And if not, I'll just announce that she has won. And I'll answer questions for a little bit while you guys work on that. Okay. DB or DB ROMC 88 says, I signed up for the boot camp 3 months ago, but I fell off my program. I want to resume and get back on track. I still have access to the BLE modules. Is there any advantage to joining all access? For sure. And the advantage is that you do it with others. You don't do it alone. So if you join the all access, you will be put into a homeroom, a current thriving homeroom where lots of other people will be going through the boot camp with you. And you will get the benefit of the synergy of doing it together with others. This is not the kind of thing that people tend to succeed at long-term on their own. And especially with the holidays right here, having access to the Brightline holiday experience right now is going to help you get through the holidays bright. So in terms of my honest assessment of the odds of success of you off on your own, trying to access modules that you've had access to now for 3 months, right? Like having access is not nearly the same as having the motivation and the support to follow through, right? Don't confuse those two. You've had the access. How much good has it done you? Not much, right? What you need is the motivation and support to actually follow through, to actually take advantage of what's at your disposal. This is where so many people, I think, get the weight loss game wrong, right? They think that just knowing kind of what to eat is the trick, right? It's like, well, but we all kind of already know that we should be eating salad and not pizza. It's not that is not the thing, right? Having access to the boot camp materials isn't the thing. This is why every time we would roll out a new boot camp in the past, we would get hundreds of Bright Lifers signing up to do that boot camp, paying extra, paying $100 to do that boot camp again, even though they already had access to the videos. But they knew that taking our hand and having us help them to create that fresh start effect in community with other people is a whole different experience. It's a game changer. It's a whole different experience. So give yourself the best environment for success and join with other people in starting fresh. Donna says, I'm already in the boot camp and it was suggested I wait to go all access, but I would like to learn about Brightline Holiday. How can I do that? Donna, go into your boot camp hub, and find the place where right in that hub, you can sign up right now for the all access membership and Brightline Holiday. Do it through your boot camp hub because that way you get your $200 credit. So you can go ahead, go right now into your boot camp hub and find the tile where it says something about going all access and click in there. Melody says, do we have to be a part of Facebook in order to benefit from the BLE program? You don't. You can get tremendous value from Brightline Eating without being a part of Facebook. But our current community groups are housed in Facebook. It won't be that way forever, but it is that way now. And there is a directory that's not in Facebook. So you can access the community by with individual people, like you can see where they are in the world. You can search and filter it by different demographics or things that matter to you, like are they a parent, or are they a 10 on the susceptibility scale, or are they male or female, or whatever, right? You can sort and filter the directory, and you can reach out to people and find buddies and mastermind group members in the directory, Melody. About 20-25% of people who come into Brightline Eating are not currently in Facebook, and about half of those decide to get a Facebook account just to access their Brightline Eating community, and they don't set up their profile in Facebook and link to their family or anything like that. They only use it for this purpose. And about half who aren't in Facebook decide not to do that, and then they use the other tools that are available for them. Michelle from Boston says, what about the app you previously mentioned? So the app is a project for the future. We will be building it. It's not built yet. We will be building it. And people who get a 5-year all access membership will get a front row seat to watching that app get built and being in the beta testing group. But I'm going to need your patience. This is a very, very big endeavor, and it's going to be taking place over the span of years, not just weeks or days. Right? So it's going to be a big project that we will be unfolding. And it's going to be incredible. And we plan to commence with all due speed on it. But we're at the very beginning of that project. We're at the stage where we have a long list of app development companies, and we're in discussion, and we need to select an app development company. That's the stage we're in. Tiffany Almeida from Washington State says, Susan, I loved your husband's vision vlog. It gave me chills and I shared it with a friend. We've been talking about Brightline Eating. I've been telling anyone who will listen. Thank you, Tiffany. David's really abuzz about it. He talks about it a lot. He's watching online at all the sharing and the excitement, and it's really hitting him, I think, that it's so powerful for people. So thank you, Tiffany. Judy Voice One says, hi from central Minnesota, been listening and just got on the chat because I wasn't going to do all access, now rethinking. Well, there you go. I mean, you don't have a question in what you said there, but I guess you're rethinking. Yeah, have a think. You know what I find, Judy, is that the still small voice deep inside, it knows. It knows. So I invite you to get quiet and just listen, right? Like, I have so much faith in your ability to know your truth, your path, what you need. I really do. I really do. I think each of us knows deep inside what we need at each juncture of our journey. So I trust you. You got this. Ray says, what is the homeroom and its purpose? The homeroom is a group that will persist throughout time so that you've got a steady community of people whom you can get to know over time as you do Brightline Eating. In this group, people will be at different points of their journey. And that means that people will be able to support each other. People who are more experienced can help out people who are just starting out and have questions. New people will be added to your homeroom as people fall away and leave, right? Which happens. People will be removed from homerooms when they leave the membership. And so it will be a group of currently active people that you will get to know over time. And that's the purpose. It will be people who are also in a similar place to you on the susceptibility scale, because what we find is that's the main thing that determines kind of how someone orients to this bright journey, is where they're at on the susceptibility scale. Ashley says, will coaching calls be weekly? In the all access membership, if you haven't done the boot camp yet, you'll start with the boot camp, and there will be weekly coaching calls for the boot camp and for Brightline Holiday. So you'll have 2 coaching calls a week that you'll have access to. Once you're done with the boot camp and you're in the Bright Lifers membership area, you will have access to a lot of coaching calls. We have specialty coaching calls, like for people who have an eating disorder background, or people who are resuming, or people who are on maintenance. We have deep coaching calls that I lead that are called Bright Nuance calls, that are about the real nuance of living the bright life, the more challenging issues, or the really interesting sticky parts. And we have office hours where you can drop in with a specific coach and get targeted help just like that. And you don't have to send in a question in advance. So I hope that helps, Ashley. There's a lot of coaching available, and there's daily accountability calls, daily. All right, our pop-up winner will join shortly. Our pop-up winner is not a current Bright Lifer, not a current Bright Lifer, and we are giving them an all access membership. Let me just ask my team something. Okay. All right, Ray has written something. Ray says, I am torn. Long before I knew what it was, I knew instinctively that I did not react to food like everyone else. When infrequently I expressed that, I was met with skepticism, so I kept it to myself. I also knew I was an emotional eater. I have listened to you on and off for years. I know I need to do this, but I don't want to. My addiction seems in control and saying no. It just seems too hard. I am an introvert, and communities like this don't often work well for me. Can this membership help me crack that nut? How does it help me get past these walls? It just seems too much for someone who has struggled with weight their whole life since a toddler. At the same time, my other addictions are alive and well. I see the discount and I want it, but I'm wondering, will I follow through? Disjointed thoughts. I'm hoping your feedback will provide me the push I need. Help, please. So Ray, first of all, thank you so much for your honesty. You're not alone. It's actually a place that I think a lot of people are in when they come to Brightline Eating. It feels like you're alone. And actually you're not alone. It's an interesting thing about active, gripping food addiction. I'm not an introvert, I'm an extrovert. And unlike you, I have had true, significant, lasting food recovery. And yet, not that long ago, I found myself in a place where I felt a lot of the same feelings that you're describing. I've been very candid with the community that I broke my bright lines back in July of 2015, and then I broke them on and off for several years. And one Thanksgiving holiday, we were in California visiting our extended family. And I started breaking my bright lines, and I started eating addictively. And there was this buffet in the hotel we were staying at that was open for hours, all morning long, hours it was open. And I would just go down, and it was all you could eat. And I would eat and eat and eat and eat. My kids would want to go swimming in the swimming pool, and I would send them with their husband, my husband, their dad, and I would just keep eating. And after a few days of this, I think Thanksgiving was the next day. And I reached a point where I felt, I think it was something about being Susan Pierce Thompson and leading this movement or something. I don't know. Most of the people that I'm really close with in Bright Line Eating are my employees, which creates a weird dynamic, right? A little bit. There's a power dynamic there because I'm their boss. I mean, they're my friends, but technically I'm their boss. And then other people that I'm close with in Bright Line Eating, they're my friends, but technically they're clients, right? Technically. And somehow I got it in my head that everybody needed me to be strong, that everybody needed me to have this together. And suddenly I found that the isolation of like, I can't let anyone know how badly I'm suffering. I can't be honest about how truly desperate and scared and alone I feel right now. Created a suffocation, like a feedback loop, where the not being able to talk about it and not having anyone in the world that I trusted to talk about how I was really feeling with, kind of, it just sealed me off completely. And I just kept eating and eating and eating and eating. And I was like in the corner of this conference area of this hotel. And you know, those areas, they're like sterile and, you know, and I was just alone and eating. And I really, really felt alone in this world, like absolutely hopeless and desperate and alone. And I didn't feel like there was a single soul that I could reach out to or connect with. And that's how I felt. And I've had significant food recovery, and I'm an extrovert, right? Like the things you're sharing, it sounds like you have never had any stretch of real freedom from your food addiction, and you're an introvert by nature. And like if I've felt that, I can't imagine how absolute and enveloping, like really sealed off from the world you must feel right now. It's really, really painful. And it's this weird thing that, you know, it's real and not real at the same time, right? Like Gail just typed into the chat, Ray, you are not alone. I'm a fellow introvert and so grateful for BLE. So Ray, I never presume to know what someone else needs. It would be very presumptuous of me to try to convince you to do Bright Line Eating at this juncture. Here's where I'm grateful. You actually gave your own answer in your question. Look back at what you wrote, sweetheart. Look back at what you wrote. You gave your own answer. Right at the end, right at the end there. I see, here's what you wrote. I see the discount and I want it, but I'm wondering if I will follow through. disjointed thoughts. And then here's the linchpin. I'm hoping your feedback will provide me the push I need. You told me right there what you need. In your words, you need a push. You need something to push you into doing it. I'm not one to push, but I am one to hold out a hand. Sweetheart, take my hand. Just take it. It's real, it's true. I am not you. I don't have your specific pain right now, but I know that I have suffered with my food and my weight more than I would ever hope on any living soul. It is the deepest, most lonely torture that I have ever known. And I have sat in a crack house with a blonde wig on my head, smoking crack for days. And the pain of my eating has been worse than that. Ray, you asked me to give you a push. You said you're hoping that I will give you a push. You said, I'm hoping your feedback will provide me the push I need. So here's the thing, sweetheart. It just takes an action. It just takes an action. I want you to scroll down below the video and click the button. It's a gold button, I think, at the very bottom. A gold button at the very bottom. Click it. I wouldn't be doing this if you didn't ask me to. You actually asked me to. Click the button. Click the button. One baby action at a time is what the Bright Life is made up of. One tiny action at a time. I want you to click that button. And then you're just going to fill out a form. You know how to do that. You've bought stuff online before. Don't get tripped up about whether to go 1 month or 1 year or 5 years. It doesn't freaking matter. Just pick one of them. It doesn't matter. Pick one. Doesn't matter. It truly doesn't. Pick one. And then when the email comes, you're going to fill out the stuff. And then you're just, here's your commitment to yourself. Your commitment is just to take the next baby action that's right in front of you and to not get tripped up about the whole picture. You're just going to become a next right thing person. You're just going to focus on the next right action. And whenever you get tripped up on your journey, you're going to narrow it down to that. There is one action. There is always one action that is the next bright action to take toward your bright life, toward your bright recovery. One action. I want you to just become a person who takes that one next action. The one next action is not usually hard. Click a button. Put in credit card details. Not hard. It is that simple. And if you resolve to not think about the rest, change is one tiny step. That's it. That's it. That's it. And Ray, you don't need to become a social butterfly to succeed at this. You don't. You don't. You got this. You got this. Just the one next action. I love you. I feel your isolation and I feel your pain. I have suffered a lot in ways that are really similar. Those other addictions you mentioned, I've probably got a lot of those too. Certifiable. I'm with you. I'm with you. You got this. Lana G says, will Brightline Healing be included in the archives? No, Brightline Healing is an old course. We're not resurrecting that. We're probably going to be using that name in the future. I have an inner work course in me that I can't wait to create for you, and it will be going under that name. Marcy Walsh says, if you start on a monthly payment, can you transfer to an annual? I believe we can make that work for you, Marcy. Just when you want to do that, go to support.brightlineeating.com, the website, support.brightlineeating.com. Carla Carcamo says, once I sign up for the all access membership, what website do I find all my stuff at? How will I know what to do? Carla, you'll get a welcome email that will explain all that to you. And we have one website that we call the Hub, which is where all your stuff will be at. And the welcome email will explain what to do. All right, we're going to take a little pause here. And we're going to talk to Alexandra. Alexandra. Here we go. I'm looking for my team has typed me some stuff, but I'm looking for it. Here we go. Here we go. All right, I can't wait to meet Alexandra. Alexandra, I've seen you around here, sweetheart. Please go ahead and show your video.
Hi.
Hi, Alexandra. Hi, sweetheart.
So excited.
And where are you in the world right now? I know, you tell everybody else, where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Macedonia.
In Macedonia.
Europe. Yes.
In Europe. Describe for us where Macedonia is, because I think most people here are from the United States and we're not so good at geography. God bless us. Where's Macedonia in Europe?
It is in Southeast Europe, in the north of Greece and south of Serbia,
North
in the
of Greece,
east of Albania, and west of Bulgaria.
Does it
in the
touch,
middle of Balkanian Polostrum.
beautiful. Does it touch the Mediterranean Sea, or is it all landlocked?
No, we don't have access to sea, but it's very close in Greece.
Very close to the sea through Greece. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, you're in Macedonia. Are you the only bright lifer in Macedonia? You're a bright lifer, right, sweetheart?
Yes, I am. I am the only one bright lifer, but there are many people who are doing bright line eating with the book. And there are many Facebook groups where they share food ideas. And I've been sharing the 14-day challenge and telling everybody it's free and join, but I still don't see anyone else in the directory beside me. Maybe there will be in the future.
Maybe there will be. And do you have an all access membership, my dear?
No, I was on deep scholarship in lifers and I couldn't afford, because here we have a low standard in these countries. And I was sharing my code and hoping to be elected. Last time I checked, 12 people has redeemed my code, and I'm counting the days.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Well, I am the grand poobah here of Bright Line Eating. I've noticed, that's my official title, I've noticed you doing such amazing work, and I'm giving you a 5-year all access membership, my dear.
Oh my God. 5 years. I can't believe
5
it.
years. It was supposed to be 1 year, but as I'm talking to you, I'm like, I can't give this gal 1 year and then leave her hanging for the years after that. So I'm giving you 5 years, my dear. It's got to be 5.
Thank you very much. I love you, Susan. The other day, I finally received my golden ticket.
Oh, yay!
Mail here. Yes, and the postman saw my reaction. I was smiling. He said, oh, that letter is for you. And I thought Susan really shares the love throughout the world. I wanted you to know that everyone can see that.
Oh, sweetheart. Well,
and
now
it's my lucky week, and this week I finally received my cookbook. It's in Serbian.
Show that again. Show that again. That's the Bright Line Eating Cookbook in Serbian.
Edition.
This is Serbian.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And so is it a thing that they changed my name like that? So it says Pierce Thompson, P-I-R-S. It's such a weird thing. I've wondered, I've got, let me just look here. I'm looking for the book in Serbian. Where is it? I've got the Bright Line Eating book in all these languages. Where is it? So this isn't it. This is, I don't know, is this Russian? What is this? I don't know. Susan Pierce Thompson. This is I think this is I don't know what this is. This is
Chinese. Oh my god. I think the name is also translated. That's why it's different.
yeah.
I believe so.
I'm looking, I thought I had it. Okay, I don't know. Let me see. Anyway. Okay, I've got it in so many different languages, but I was looking at that before and I was like, oh, that's interesting. They changed the spelling of my name. But that's amazing. I didn't know the cook. And do you speak Serbian in Macedonia?
Yes, I do. First time I heard about Bright Line Eating of Masha Vujanovic on her YouTube channel, and I'm very grateful to her.
I know Masha. So do you know Masha?
Not personally, but I watch her videos, and I watch all your videos since the first vlog until new vlogs, and everyone home here watches with me, and everyone knows who Susan Pierce Thompson is.
Oh my gosh! Since the first
my husband
vlog,
and
like
my 2
6
sons.
years ago. You've been watching for 6 years.
No. Last year I heard first time, and I started exploring, and 6 months I'm doing Bright Line Eating, but it was August 10th that I was not Crystal Wazer, but strictly doing it. And since starting of Gideon Games, that is November 1st, I'm bright 20 days.
Woohoo! Yay! So you're in the Gideon Games. Tell everyone what the Gideon Games is for people who don't know. That's a Bright Lifers thing. What's the Gideon Games?
Yes, the Gideon Games is a kind of contest where teams are formed of 10 people. And every day we are checking if our day is bright or not, and we're collecting points. And there's a leaderboard where every team is ranked. So the winners will get also a reward by some teaching of you, Susan, or interview, I think. And I want to also thank my team leader, Meredith, and also Tony and Walmary. They said they will share my code, and if they were elected, they will give a award to me. So I want also to thank them. They're being such a great teammates for me. Thank you.
I love it. I'm typing it into the document here that I changed your winnings to 5 years. I just decided on the fly to do that. I was talking to you and I was like, I can't let it be just 1 year. That's not right. That's not right.
I can't thank you enough, Susan.
You're welcome, sweetheart. You're welcome, sweetheart. Just you keep it on over there in Macedonia, and one day I'll come out and visit you. My grandma on my dad's side was from Greece, and I want to come out. I've never been to Greece, but my kiddo Robin reads all the Percy Jackson books, and there's all these books about the Greek gods and stuff. And I promised I would take Robin to Greece someday, and we'll maybe.
You're welcome, and I will be happy to meet you in life. I hope so.
Yes, we'll meet someday, Alexandra. We will. I believe it. I believe it.
Me too.
All right. Congratulations, sweetie. Thank you so much for all you're doing to share the Bright Line Eating message, and congratulations on your 20 excellent bright days and back on the wagon. And it feels so good to be bright. Doesn't it feel so good? Feels so good.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for all you're doing for the whole world.
You're welcome, sweetheart. You're welcome. I have one other quick question.
Okay.
How different do you think it is doing Bright Line Eating in Macedonia with the different foods, right? Like the food plan that we give, is it pretty easy to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is easy with all this here Mediterranean food and plants and everything. It is easy and cheap to go to the market and get groceries and everything. It's so easy because I'm choosing what food of the protein portion and vegetables and fat. It's my own choice.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And
Great.
I'm following your suggestion to eat fruit only for breakfast because it's like a trigger to me, the sweet taste of the fruit. And I have lost 6 kilos or 12 pounds, I think.
Yep.
But I have a lot to lose. I have to lose 30 kilos or
Okay.
60 pounds.
Yep. Yeah.
A lot of work to do still.
Well, one day at a time. It's no work. It's just way your brain.
All the courses in All Access, I believe, will be helpful.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. Love you, sweetheart. Love you. Good to talk with you. Mwah. Bye.
Bye. See ya.
Bye. All right. So good. Okay, back to questions. All right. Carla? Okay, oh no, we already answered Carla's question. Okay, Monique says, I committed to the All Access. Can I still upgrade to the 5-year membership? Yes, you can, Monique. What I would recommend you do is you just go buy the All Access, the 5-year one, and then you just go to support.brightlineeating.com and ask for a refund for the 1 year or the monthly that you already bought. And my team will get that taken care of in the next week or so, easily, probably the next few days. But you know that they're processing a lot of other, important refunds right now from other people. But as long as your credit card cycle doesn't, close too soon, it should all be taken care of within one credit card cycle for you. So, yeah. So someone asked, will Bright Lifers and All Access be in the same homeroom? Yes, you'll have just one homeroom. Vivian G says, is it just the 5-year memberships that will be testing the app? Right, not the monthlies or the annuals, correct. Mary Beth M says, was I removed from Fawning House when I put in my homeroom? No, that wouldn't have happened. Jan M says, okay, so my question is, I just signed up for 5-year All Access. I need boot camp, holiday resume. I can't do this alone. I did the 14-day challenge in July and I've released 49 pounds to date with 41 to go on my own, but I've now plateaued for almost 3 weeks. How do I find community and start boot camp? So you just signed up for the 5-year All Access, Jan. So follow your welcome email and it'll describe how to get into the hub. And you haven't done the boot camp. So what you'll have access to right away is your boot camp and Brightline Holiday. So follow the instructions in your welcome email to get into the hub, and those 2 courses will be there for you. Oh my gosh, so many people have said things about the community. AJ says, why do so many of these voices mirror my own? I know, right? We so are peas in a pod here. Alice says, I've joined All Access for a year. Is it possible to upgrade to the 5-year plan? I just answered that for someone else. I would suggest you just buy the 5-year plan and then go to support.brightlineeating.com and submit a refund request for the 1 year. And then your next question is, what price options will you have when the 5 years expire? Probably all of them. We won't, but in that same vein of, you could do another 5 years or 400 or 40, either way. We've got some homeroom questions. how many folks in a homeroom. We're not capping the size per se. We're keeping an eye on it. We're going to keep the homerooms what we would call optimal, which is you need it. The main thing is you need it big enough to have enough comments and likes and activity. And Ashley had the same question. We will keep adding in new people as people drop out. And it's not going to be massive like the Brightline Eating official group or anything like that. Jay Bernheim says, how do we find out about or get into our homeroom? When you get into the hub, you need to kind of look around in there. I'm not actually sure what you click on to get into the homeroom. But there's a process, like I think it's one thing you need to click on, like your core materials or something like that. I forget. And then once you get in there, it'll say something about your community. And if you click in there, you'll get access to I'm making it sound confusing, but it's not. Once you get in there and you just poke around a little bit in your main hub, you'll find it. But you need to request access to your homeroom. Eddie G says, how are homerooms assigned? Basically, you request access and then you tell us what your susceptibility score is, and you'll be assigned based on an open group that is for your susceptibility score. My team just helped me out there. You click on the connection and community tile. You click on the connection and community tile in your hub to get assigned to your homeroom. Benedicti says, can you switch to another homeroom if you want to, or can you be a member of several homerooms? Well, they're based on susceptibility score. If we have multiple homerooms in your susceptibility score and you want to be like in the other one, yes, you could switch. I don't know that it would be okay for you to be in multiple ones. You could ask support about that, right? support.brightlineeating.com. And Linda says that she might want to be in a homeroom with her buddy. You would have to reach out to support. So go to support.brightlineeating.com. And some of it has to do with where your buddy is on the susceptibility scale, if they're similar to you. Nemo has a great question. What's the difference between the terms bright lifer and bright liner? A bright lifer is someone who's in the Bright Lifers membership, right? So we're now broadening the Bright Lifers membership so that there's two tiers of it, the core, which is the boot camp and Bright Lifers, and then the all access, which is what we're all a flutter about this week, right? And a Bright Lifer would be anyone who's in either of those memberships. A bright liner is someone who does Brightline Eating, but who's not in the membership, right? So a bright liner would be someone who's got the book and they're reading the book and they've started, or they've done the 14-day challenge, but they're not in the membership. Okay. Irene, you have a question about signing up for 1 year and then wanting the 5-year. So I think I've already answered that question because I've answered it twice for other people as well. You got this. MC Mom for him says, I lost 30 pounds just going off sugar. I thought that joining a weight loss program after that would be so easy. When I joined, I was in for 3 months and did everything, every meeting and all food. I didn't lose another pound, but I did find I became obsessed with food. I gave it all up for 10 years until I found Brightline Eating. I did the 14-day challenge and have kept BLE in a very close spot because I feared making food an obsession again. I want to go all access, but it is my fear that this 7 will become a 10 plus plus. If that is a weird question and no one else would benefit from the answer, no need to answer. I will keep bright no matter what. I will not go back to my sore, achy, and sick body. Okay, so no, this isn't a question that no one else would benefit from. This is a question that a lot of people will benefit from. So there's 2 principles in play here, okay? When we do Brightline Eating and we find that food becomes more of an obsession, okay? There's 2 things in play. First is something that's normal and expected and healthy, which is that in order to break automatic habits, like the way we used to eat, the way we used to snack, the way we used to do whatever, we need to take a bunch of actions and behaviors that that were in the realm of the automatic, and we need to focus on them more to change them, to bring them up to the level of consciousness and consciously shift them. This takes, a couple of months, and really, like Shawna and I were talking about, after just a couple of weeks, it gets a lot easier, right? But it is a natural, needful thing that you need to become more food obsessed, if you will, to focus on what you're doing so that you can shift your habits. Now, if you get food obsessed beyond that, it's one of two other things that are not, how do I put it? They're fixable, but they're problems, okay? One is starvation brain, which is you're eating too little for what your brain really, truly physiologically needs. And you need to you need to add food to your food plan. Starvation brain is when your brain is saying, is it time to eat now? How about now? How about now? How about now? How about now? Where you feel like all day you're just hanging out for the next meal, okay? That's starvation brain. I've got a whole little section on it in the next book, Resume, that's coming out in December next month. But basically, the solution is to add some food back in, okay? And that can just ease that just a little bit. But the other thing that could be involved is a hyper-vigilant food controller part of us that is perfectionistic and really freaked out about blowing it, okay? And that is something we can do some work on, right? Odds are it signals that, odds are we're perfectionistic and hyper controlling in other areas of our lives too. And it'll be good for us to work on easing up that controller part of us a little bit. That takes some inner work. We can teach you how to do that in Bright Line Eating. But it is very possible to do Bright Line Eating in a way that is relaxed and empowered and not obsessed. And if we get a little too lax, we can bring it back to, effective, like following the bright lines because we choose to, because it serves us. So there is a lot of support around here, nuanced, wise support for what you're talking about. It's not something that just happens, that you go from a 7 to a 10 plus. It's not something that just happens. There's reasons for it. And I will say that if you're in the All Access membership, my dear, and it starts to happen to you, write in to get coaching with me on the Bright Nuance call, because this is exactly the kind of thing that I want to cover on the Bright Nuance call. So you got this, sweetheart, you got this. Donna Lee says, I am new. I just joined Full Access. I'm on day 8 of boot camp. When do I get into a homeroom? When does boot camp start? What do you suggest for me? Oh, Donna Lee, welcome. Welcome. All right. So you just joined and you're on day 8 of boot camp. I suggest you just stay in your boot camp. Well, if you're only on day 8, you might want to get into a homeroom and restart your boot camp with the people in your homeroom. I'm not sure. You might want to do that. You might want to get a refund for your boot camp and just do the boot camp in your All Access membership if you're only on day 8 of your boot camp. So you can get into your homeroom right away. You're going to get a welcome email and you're going to learn how to get into the hub for your All Access membership. And then there's a connection and community tile that you'll click on to get into your homeroom. And then you'll get access to your boot camp and to Bright Line Holiday. Welcome, Donnelly. Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to go through your boot camp on Bright Line Holiday. It's really your call whether you want to stay in your current boot camp or or not. Really, that's your call. Marie G says, I'm a 10 on the scale, but 401 days bright, all 4 lines. I cannot believe it. I just signed up and wonder if I will be grouped with others for whom BLE just sort of clicked. Marie, first of all, fabulous. Welcome. You will be grouped with others who are 10s on the susceptibility scale. Some of them will be, you know, super bright from the beginning, and some of them will not. And what you can do is nurture an attitude of gratitude and service for the people in your group who are struggling. You will benefit by hearing about their struggles. I know it might not seem like that, but it's a way to keep it fresh and real. What a gift it is. Like I hear you that you know that it's a gift when you say all 4 lines bright, 401 days, I cannot believe it. That's right. I cannot believe it. It's a miracle. It's fabulous. And stay grateful for it. And one of the ways to stay grateful is to be active in your homeroom, where there will be people who are strong and bright like you, and there will be people who are struggling. What I do recommend, Marie, is that if you're not already, you get into a mastermind group where there are some other people who are just strong and bright line eating just clicked, just like you. It doesn't need to be all the people in your mastermind group, but at least I would say a couple of others. Deborah says, I can't afford all access, but I will commit to the core membership. Will that group also get the Start Together synchrony as well? So, Deborah, the core membership folks will be added to homerooms as well. Let me just think about this. Have you done the boot camp, Deborah? Because if you start the boot camp a week from, let me think. Oh, it's actually this coming Tuesday. This coming Tuesday, the core membership will be available. And if you start the boot camp then in your homeroom, yes, there will be a lot of Start Together synchrony happening there. There will be, sweetheart. I'm just thinking it through. I'm trying to give you a very real answer. Yes. Yes. C. Hayes, will Bright Holidays be available on replay Tuesday evening? Yes, it should be right there, that because it's a Zoom. Actually, I'm not sure what the getting started call will be, whether it's going to be Zoom or instant telesummon. I think it'll be Zoom. And yeah, the replay should be ready fairly soon. Yes, that night. Jana says, will you ever create a course on how to sponsor? I tried sponsoring, but felt that even with the tools in the hub, I was not prepared to help the person. I don't know if I'll ever create a course on how to sponsor. Did you get into the Facebook group, Jana, of people who are sponsoring, and did you use it? Did you post your struggles there with it? And sometimes talking, like having friends like Shawna, Keele, Murph, who I know you could meet there, right? Or send a private Facebook message. We have some very committed, consistent sponsors like Charlotte Sears and Shawna, Keele, Murph are 2 that I can think of. And they'd be more than happy to hop on the phone with you and talk to you about your challenges in particular. So I hope that helps. Lynn for Jazz says, hello, I first met you through Ocean Robins several years ago. I couldn't afford the $1,000 boot camp at the time, so I tried things on my own. In 2018, I developed leukemia, and I've been battling variations of this disease ever since. I now have a nutritionist, and then started your 14-day program on September 10th of this year. I'm on day 72 and released 22 pounds with 110 to go. I joined the monthly $40 all access earlier this week. How do I get access to the boot camp and other parts of this program? I paid and I still do not have access. So Lynn for Jazz, first of all, welcome, sweetheart, welcome. It's just a heart-rending and heartwarming and heart-touching story. So happy day 72. Happy day 72, my dear. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And it sounds like you're one of the folks who got stuck in the spot where you paid, but you haven't gotten access yet. That's the thing I was talking about at the beginning of this live stream, where there was a cloud kerfuffle in the electronic cloud, where the Google DNS server went down, and that affected PayPal and Braintree. And so you paid, but their glitch didn't allow our system to trigger the post-purchase process that would have sent you the welcome email that would have given you everything. So my team is still working that out, and by tomorrow night, you should have access. If you don't have access by tomorrow night, you don't actually need to do anything. My team has your information and is on it. They're working on it as fast as they can. You'll know you get access because you'll get a welcome email that will explain how to get in and access your bootcamp and everything. How to get into the hub is what you need. You need access to the hub. If you want to, you can go ahead and go to support.brightlineeating.com, support.brightlineeating.com, and submit a ticket there, letting my team know that you don't have access, that you paid and you don't have access, but they already know and they're already working on it. So I would recommend you just wait till tomorrow night. And then if you still haven't gotten access, just go ahead and go to support.brightlineeating.com and fill out a ticket and say, hey, I still don't have access. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I'm so sorry. Just so frustrating that tech glitch happened right at the worst time for us. So we just need your patience for another 48 hours. My customer support team told me that by the end of tomorrow night, they will have everybody processed who got caught in that glitch. So welcome. Welcome, welcome. We got you. We got you. You'll get access. You will. Lucy, 30, said, is there a place in BLE for older people? I am female, age 59, who do not have children. If so, where? I've been in BLE since October 2016. It has changed my life. So grateful and so appreciative. My level of food addiction and dysfunction was so severe, it affected my ability to maintain intimate relationships and my ability to look after myself. I knew having children was just not a place that I could go. I'm constantly amazed and astounded at how many people in the BLE community are in relationships and or have children. BLE feels to me a little like a merry-go-round that I'm not quite sure how to get on. I love the vlogs. I am a bright lifer, but I guess I just haven't found my place yet. Oh, sweetheart. I'm so feeling you. I'm so feeling you. So it sounds to me like you have a part of you that is believing a story that you're on the outside sort of permanently, you know, and that you're on the outside looking in, that it's almost like that you're in the street and there's a shop and there's glass there and you're pressing your nose to the shop, to the glass and looking through, and you see a party inside and everybody else is at the party and you're not invited, you're not there. And you're close to it, you can see it, but you're separated from it. And I don't know if it'll help you or not to hear me say, it's not real. It's a story you're believing in your head. A part of you is believing this story, that because you're older and don't have children or whatever, first of all, you're the average age of people in Bright Line Eating. You're not older here, that's the average age of people in Bright Line Eating. Many people in Bright Line Eating have children and many don't. It's no different than the general population. So there's plenty of people in your demographic here. And yet it's made up, but it's real to you, right? Like you are experiencing this as your reality. There's a part of you that is experiencing yourself as being on the outside. And that is a form of self-imposed isolation, right? And isolation is part of the core of food addiction. So you're not alone at that. Here's an amazing story. At the very first Bright Line Eating family reunion, or maybe it was the second one, Everett Considine was on stage. There were 400 people in the room. These were people who were committed to Bright Line Eating, who were dedicated to Bright Line Eating, who'd paid all this money to be there, flown there, paid for their hotel, all of it. And he asked, raise your hand if you don't feel like you belong here, if you feel like you are on the outside here and everybody else is on the inside. And hands went up. My hand went up on stage. Almost everyone's hand went up in the room. Almost everyone. Almost all of us believe some version of that story. My version of it is that I don't belong here because I lead this thing and I don't get to be a member. You all have the benefit of getting to be a member. I'm not a member. I'm isolated. It's lonely at the top. I'm just single and solitary at the top of this thing, and I don't get to be a member. You get to be a member. We all have a version of our isolation story. And so part of the healing from that is recognizing that it's not true, and it's not all of us that believes that. It's a part of us. And then the next step is to get curious. Get curious, Lucy. What does that part of you that's believing that feel that their job is in your life, their role? Why do they have that story, and why do they feel it's important to have that story, to be on the outside? What's their role in keeping you from belonging, right? So you can get coaching on this kind of thing in Bright Line Eating, in Bright Lifers. You can, I love that you typed it in here, right? It means that it's alive for you, and it means that you're on the cusp of shifting it, just that you asked the question, just that you typed it into the chat. You're willing to be seen and you're willing to be vulnerable in it. Just taking the action of typing it into the chat changed it. Okay, so here's an update on the question about the first Bright Line holiday kickoff call. It will be in Zoom, not instant teleseminar. It will be in Zoom. And so the Zoom recordings take a little bit of time to render, and then they will be the recordings will be available right there in the hub for you. Okay. Tina says, Susan, I loved Shawna and Eric. Thank you for these teachings. Will all access members get the app for free, or will there be an additional annual fee to keep and use the app when it is developed? All access founding lifers will get the app for free. Also, years ago on an accountability call, you gave your blessing for a gal to move her breakfast grain to dinner to have a bright Thanksgiving. Do you still say that's cool? It helps me stay bright, but it does not sit right with me to move food to make the meal more sexy. Thoughts? Your call, sweetheart, your call. It helps you stay bright. Your call. It is totally your call. So here would be my inquiry. Can you get curious about the part of you that wants to do it, to move that grain to dinner? Can you get curious about the part of you that doesn't feel right about it? My guess is that's a food controller part, right? And can you find your authentic self that's neither of those two parts? Can you find your authentic self and see what feels true for you, and like what you want to do this year from the place of feeling calm and clear and connected and courageous, centered, grounded, clear, authentic self? Can you just maybe do a little bit of journaling, or just even maybe you already got your clarity just by hearing me ask you those questions? You got this, sweetheart. And if you don't get clarity, just pick one of those paths, weigh your food, eat only in exactly that, and it'll just be more data, right? And then there's another Thanksgiving next year. You can try doing it the other way next year and maybe journal afterwards. At the very least, collect data on it. Do it one way and journal about it afterwards, like note how it felt, right? How it actually felt. And then maybe next year, try it the other way. Starlight 244 says, what does it mean when you ask, have you ever broken your bright lines? Does it mean any of them or just flour and sugar? It means any of them. And we all at some point develop a rhythm with what works for us, right? So, for example, at this phase of my life, I don't sweat myself to eyeball precisely when I'm in a restaurant. It takes a certain level of willpower to do that. And I have so much willpower depletion on board in my life these days, making decisions as much as I have to and stuff, that I don't sweat myself with that. I just make sure that I'm on a food plan where however much I'm eating out or whatever, I'm not gaining weight. Like and I don't sweat myself like to be really conscious and precise about the quantities line in a restaurant. I have certain things that I order and that's what I eat. And so am I breaking that bright line? I'm not defining that as breaking my quantities line. I'm not eating, I'm not eating them out of house and home. When I go into a restaurant, I order something and that's what I eat. And I have a reason for doing it. For me, that feels like self-compassion. That feels like reasonable. I know what I shoulder in my life. A lot of you have imaginations about what I shoulder in my life. It's a lot. And I don't sweat that. When I'm home, I weigh my food precisely. Like an ounce of oats is an ounce of oats. 6 ounces of green beans is 6.0, and I will rip a green bean in half to make it 6.0. So for me, I follow my quantities line. So we all have our ways of, counting things, right? But careful just thinking that only the sugar and flour lines count, because they're, depending on how high you are on the susceptibility scale, you can really get into a zone of not feeling very peaceful with your food if you're breaking the meals and quantities lines. Diane P says, will there be a special NMD group? We do have an NMD group. It's called Free from NMD, and it's a special interest group, and it's available to all Bright Lifers. So if you're in the All Access membership, you will have access to that special interest group. Cheryl W, renewal date. Can we start the yearly 400 after the holidays, paying $40 until February or March? Go ahead and do that, Cheryl. Just register for the $40, and then in February or March, go to the support center, support.brightlineeating.com, and ask to start an annual membership then for 400. Yeah, we'll allow that. Policy says, is it true that I have to wait until the end of boot camp to start with the research questions? No, there's research questions in the boot camp. You start with the research questions right away at the beginning of the boot camp, and then in the boot camp, it's actually weekly. Marcy, same question. If you start on a monthly payment, can you transfer to annual? Yes. Sherry says, I'm confused. Start boot camp now, then start Brightline Holiday on Tuesday, then reboot resume in January. You got it, Sherry. That's about it. So what might happen though is you might not quite be done with boot camp for reboot resume in January. You might not need reboot resume in January. What I suggest you do is start boot camp now. Give it a real focused effort. Dabble in Brightline Holiday, depending on how busy you are. That might be a lot to do. Focus on the boot camp. When you get out of the boot camp, transition to Bright Lifers for a bit. You might not need reboot resume this year. Reboot resume will be available to you in the future. I would not focus necessarily on doing reboot resume in January. And you'll have a little bit after your boot camp ends, you'll have a little bit of time to orient to Bright Lifers. And then you'll want to start with maintenance 1 in March. Father Stefan says, Susan, is it fair to say that for those who are triggered with a fear of isolation by being in a homeroom, is the Bright Lifers Facebook group here to stay for as long as BLE uses Facebook? Yes, Father Stefan, I believe that is accurate. Carol Lull says, having trouble getting all access membership because Brightline Eating is saying my passwords are incorrect. I've been trying for 4 days now. Can you help me? I've been with Brightline Eating since 7/27/2017, a Bright Lifer since 2018. Also, I renewed my annual membership at the end of June. If I get the new all access membership for the year, will this be added to my remaining membership, extended? No, Carol, if you go get the all access membership right now, what will happen is you will pay less for it because the remaining unused portion of your all access membership that you renewed at the end of June, the remaining portion will be credited to you. And when you check out, you'll actually pay less, okay? And it sounds like it's saying your passwords are incorrect. You've been trying for 4 days, yikes. Okay, so I can't help you with that, but I'm hoping that the Brightline Eating team who's right here can take Carol, who clearly needs help, and get her over to David Lewis and get him to help her with that. Carol, could you do us a favor and type in the email address that you use for your memberships with Brightline Eating? That would be helpful. We'll get that over to David Lewis and he will reach out to you. So I need the Brightline Eating team to work together here and get this over to David Lewis. David Lewis is who I reach out to when I've got a special person who just needs someone to help them get it together. All right, yep, they're on it. So Carol A. Lowell, what we need you to do is type in the email address that you use for your Brightline Eating membership, your email address, okay? Thank you, sweetheart. Jan M. asked a couple questions. I can't even get this to post. I don't know if I'm gonna get my 5-year membership to work. I will try and figure this all out. Being IT challenged may make this too hard for me. I signed up for 5 years, but I am way overwhelmed. So I sit here and cry while I watch all of you doing wonderful things with your lives. Maybe all access won't work for me. Oh, sweetheart. Oh, Jan. And Jan also said, are there any military mastermind groups out there? I am 31 years retired Army looking for support. Oh, sweetheart, you got this, soldier. You got this. You got this. So you've got your 5-year membership and you're IT challenged. So I have one question for you. I have one question, Jan. First of all, you just need a hug. So first of all, I'm just going to sit with you for a second. Just take a breath. You got this. I applaud you for sitting and crying. Sometimes it's absolutely the next right thing to do. Sometimes I get overwhelmed too, and I sit in the shower and I cry. I sit in the shower and I cry. It's just, life is absolutely all too much. Quite often. That's just the reality of it. Life is absolutely, entirely too much on the regular. It's just ridiculous. I don't know who designed this mess, but it's like, you know, they say God won't give you more than you can handle. And I'm like, who thinks I'm up to this? Like, really? Like, I just wish God didn't think so much of my capacity because this is ridiculous sometimes. Like, really, really enough, shall we just say? I mean, I'm looking around here on planet Earth, and it seems to me that everyone's getting more than their fair share, like more than their fair share of hardships. I just got to say, I don't really know anyone who hasn't gotten more than their fair share of hardships. So all that said, Jan, I have one question for you. You signed up for a 5-year all access membership. Did you get a welcome email? did you get a welcome email? And you know what? I'm going to actually ask my team here. Would you please ask Jen or find out from somebody, what's the subject line on the welcome email for the all access membership? There's a welcome email that describes what they have to do. Can we please get Jan the subject line so she can search through her email and actually know what she's looking for? We call it the welcome email, but I don't know that it says welcome in the subject line. Jan, we're going to get that information to you so that you can breathe and just know what you're looking for in your email inbox. And that way everyone can know. When you get into your all access membership, there is an email that tells you what to do, okay? And we're going to get you that information, Jan. I hear you. Being tech challenged, I'm rather tech challenged myself. I don't like computers. I'm the person who, like, you know, if things stop working in my computer world, I just I don't know what to do. Like, I get someone else to do it because I don't know what to do. You know, some people that have the sensibility to persist and figure it out and stuff. Usually it's someone else who says, did you turn off your computer and turn it back on? I always forget to do that. I'm like, no. They're like, why don't you do that? Okay. Jan, I'm going to be right back to you, okay? Leslie asked, I've signed up for 5 years all access. So excited. I did not receive any welcome emails, not in junk mail either. I was already in the hub and it seems to have updated. So I see Holiday and all the others. I've been accepted into my homeroom without any problem. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything important. Thanks. So Leslie, I don't know. But it sounds like you see Brightline Holiday in there. So you're good for now, and you're in your homeroom. You're good for now. What I would do if I were you is I would just give my customers, I think you're good. I think you're good. Nothing's happening except Brightline Holiday in your homeroom. You're good. What I would do is I would give my customer support team, give them till Wednesday. Give them till Wednesday. And then go to support.brightlineeating.com, and ask them to forward you that welcome email. Or if you want, you could type your email address into the chat thread, and I'm sure someone here has got the welcome email. They'd forward it to you right now, and then you would see what it says. I don't know. So those are two suggestions. D Brom CC 88 says, sorry, there's no tile in my BLE hub for all access. Is there another way to sign up? I think I remember you were in the boot camp, right? So the other way to sign up, if I'm honest, is just go below this video. There's a gold button to sign up for the all access membership. And then anytime over the next week or so, just reach out to, sorry, this is annoying me. This is the wrong height. There we go. Sorry, everyone. Okay. And then just go to, so I'm just thinking about my customer support team that is like so overloaded right now, but I don't know. So there's two options. DBROM C88, there's two options. One is ask my support team right now for help. Go to support.brightlineeating.com and tell them your situation and tell them what you need. The next option is just go ahead and sign up for the all access memberships. Just scroll down below here, go to the gold thing, join now, sign up for the all access membership. And then anytime in the next 2 weeks, go to support.brightlineeating.com and say that you're in the boot camp and say that you want your $200 credit, and they'll credit you. Okay, so Jan, here's the way it works with your 5-year membership. you're gonna get 3 emails, okay, that you need to look for. One has a subject line that says, you have successfully registered. The one that gets you into the hub says, your invitation to the Brightliners hub. This isn't very simple though. And then the email from NorthPass says, your next steps for Bright Lifers. But one of those is the welcome email. She's already in the hub, Jen says. Okay. Okay. All right. So then I just think you're looking for an email that says your next steps for Bright Lifers. Your next steps for Bright Lifers. You won't get, you're already in the hub, so you won't get that other one. So you're looking for an email. So Jan, I'm sorry. We have different people with different situations. So let me just simplify things. I'm going to take a breath. Jan, you're looking for an email that says your next steps for Bright Lifers in the subject line. And just like that subject line says, your next steps for Bright Lifers, it's going to list your steps. So just be with me here now on this live stream. And when you feel like it, just go find that email and just follow those steps. Just follow the first step first. You got this. You got this. And you're going to get into a homeroom and you can ask there about the military question, right? You can ask there. So if you log into the hub, my dear, everything you need will be there. I don't know if you know how to log into your hub. Yeah, all of your content will be there if you log into the hub. Okay. Let me go back to Carol A. Lull, who was having trouble getting the all access membership because BLE was saying the passwords were incorrect. JP has Carol's email and we'll get you situated. So my team is taking care of you, sweetheart. Thanks for letting us know. All right. Valerie says, I joined the 14-day challenge on August 10th. I've lost the cravings and I have automaticity with my breakfast, lunch, and starting to feel that with my dinner. My problem is my afternoon cocktail that I drink while others drink alcoholic beverages. I've been sober for 3 years. I did not think about my cocktail until recently when the weather turned colder. I can't seem to shake the thoughts of wanting it. I have considered research and then it cuts off. Okay. So yeah, Valerie, what I strongly recommend is that you replace that with some other type of activity or substitute. It doesn't really work to cut things out of our lives. We need to replace them. So you might need some coaching support to get ideas, because it sounds to me like you're in a social situation while other people are drinking alcoholic beverages and you used to drink something else and now you've cut it out. So there's nuance to like what would be a sufficient substitute for that. Okay. So I recommend that you get coaching support for that. So I don't know if you're in Bright Lifers or if you've joined the all access membership, but that's where you would get coaching, is in Bright Lifers. And there's all kinds of ways to get coaching on the accountability call, on any of the coaching calls you could get. This is a very classic bright line eating question. If you're not doing the all access membership, you could put your situation in the Bright Line Eating official Facebook group or something like that. It just won't be as targeted coaching, but you'd have to describe the situation pretty clearly. All right, we have just hit 6,000 all access members at 4:49 p.m. For those who are tracking. The only reason I'm saying that is because we have some Bright Lifers who are who care about how many people sign up and who are tracking it. Monique Stevens says, is the book translation in Dutch? That would be great. Monique, it is going to be translated in Dutch. I believe we sold the rights to a Dutch publishing house in the last year. So I don't think it's out yet in Dutch, but I believe it will be. Missy Grinnell says, if we were given founding lifer status because we were in the boot camp during this amazing shift, do I have a Bright ticket code to pass on? And if so, how do I find it? No, if you're in the boot camp during this amazing shift, you do not have a Bright ticket code to pass on. Only current Bright lifers during, like right now, only current Bright lifers have a Bright ticket code. Christina Hong says, thank you, Susan, BLE team, and my amazing friend Elise Slifkin McClure, who introduced and inspired me to Bright Line Eating as a Bright lifer. My husband and I did the first boot camp back on 1/11, and we lost 15 pounds. But then once we were done in April, didn't continue, and now we've gained all the way back. I want to sign up for 5 years of all access membership to stay committed and be held accountable, but scared to fail and not have the willpower to get to my healthy BMI. Question, do I get to take the susceptibility quiz again to be placed in the right homeroom for founding lifers 5-year all access? Yes, there will be a link to the quiz right there when you're trying to join your homeroom. There'll be a link to the quiz right there. You can also always find it at brightlineeating.com. Question, should I use a new login for 5 years to separate my original logon purchase of bootcamp and meditation package last October? No, you can use the same email. And Christina, just so you know, the way it will work for you, I understand that there's a part of you that's scared to fail and not have the willpower to follow up, but being held accountable for 5 years will be in your best interest. Even if you veer off track, the awareness of having committed for 5 years will be helpful, right? So you got this, girl. You got this. You know what you're doing. Sarah says, where does the Bright Line Eating fasting mimicking diet fit in? I found it in the knowledge base and I found that semi-annually, it really helps reduce my total body inflammation. If it's working for you, Sarah, fabulous, fabulous. So we tend to call it the metabolic reset, and it really does help reduce inflammation. So well done. Benedicti says, are the homerooms closed groups on Facebook or on another platform? They are closed groups on Facebook. They're private groups on Facebook. Nemo says, I still don't understand Bright Lifers in the hub. I'm new here. I've just started boot camp and I'm on the preparation page. So how does the Bright Lifers section in the hub fit in? You don't have it yet, Nemo. You don't have the Bright Lifers tile because you're not done with the boot camp yet. So you should just have the boot camp. You should just have the boot camp and Brightline Holiday if you did the all access, and you will have access to Bright Lifers when you finish the boot camp. Brenda in Alaska says, if I sign up monthly, can I change to yearly at any time? Or is it only during Bright Ticket Week? Brenda, we're allowing people, we're aware that this is maybe not the optimal time of year to have an annual renewal. So if you sign up monthly right now and go for a few months and then right into support, which means you go to the website, support.brightlineeating.com, that's the support center. If you go there and submit a ticket, we will let you do the annual at that time. Karen M, question, can your susceptibility number change over the years? Absolutely. Food addiction is a progressive disease, so odds are it will change over the years. Cindy Norsworthy says, if you are in all access, will you still be able to access these training videos? Linda Marcy says, has the same question. In your email today, it said these Bright Ticket lessons will be gone. Is that just for people who don't sign up? Will all access keep them? I don't think we have plans right now to save these in the all access, but I imagine we could change that. I don't know. These are all going away this week. So watch them, take notes. Nancy Yu says, where can I find the accountability phone numbers? If you're in the All Access membership, there's a place called the directory. We call it Brightliners Land. It's a directory, and you can find people's phone numbers there. KG says, I have a history of eating disorders, mild OCD, trauma. I do not practice BLE other than no flour, no sugar. My body size is not an issue. It is my mentality, e.g. negative self-talk, bad self-image, past emotional abuse. I've been following you and Brightline Eating for many years now, online through emails, blogs, program offerings. I 100% appreciate the mindset of the BLE community, no food pushing, life beyond and without food addiction, etc. I tried to start BLE and found it was triggering my eating disorders. I'm excited by this new setup, but if I don't follow the BLE way of eating, how do I fit in? Thank you so much for all you do. KG, we have someone named Dr. Joy Jacobs, who I would recommend you connect with. Since you don't eat sugar and flour, Brightline Holiday will be a lovely course for you to talk about not eating sugar and flour through the holidays, right? You don't have to do the rest of the food plan for that to apply. Not eating sugar and flour is a big deal, by the way, right? Like fewer than 1% of people in society don't eat sugar and flour. So I just want to point out that even though you might not be weighing and measuring and doing all the rest of the Brightline Eating food plan, you're still far more similar to eating the way we eat here in Brightline Eating than you are to eating the way people eat out in the big bad world, right? I mean, you get that, right? Like not eating sugar and flour is a very big deal. Like that's a lot of it, right? And Reboot Resume, for example, will be about food actions and support. Most of that course, 95% of it, will pertain to you and the way you are doing the Brightline Eating program. And Dr. Joy Jacobs is an eating disorder specialist. And she has a private Facebook group called the Fifth Brightline Facebook group, the Fifth Brightline, no binging, no purging, right? So that's shorthand for everyone who has an eating disorder background or current eating disorder. And you can get on her coaching calls. She does coaching calls with our community and start to really explore, is there a way for you to do Brightline Eating with your history of eating disorders, or is it not in your best interest? And I don't have a sense from what you wrote which would be true for you, and it might change over time, but there's absolutely room in our community for you, for sure, for sure. And I also just want to say, KG, that part of you that feels different and isolated, right? I was speaking about that earlier here in the Q&A, that we all have that part. We all have that part, right? And everybody here is working Brightline Eating in a way that works for them. We all need to modify this to make it work for us. And just, you know, the word modify means different things to different people, and we're all doing that, all of us, every last one. So, you know, there's some ways of modifying it that are more like stamp of approved by the food controller part, right? Like Shawna, Keele, Murph, the way she modifies it is she makes sure that all of her food is prepped the night before. That's a modification. I don't do that, right? She does it, it works for her, and that's her modification. It's a more extreme modification, and so it's seal of approval by the food controller part, right? Because the food controller likes that kind of stuff. Like, oh, good, you're more extreme, you're tightening it up tighter, right? That doesn't mean it's better. We have an interesting, those of us who have a history of food issues have an interesting way of thinking like stricter is better, right? The way that Shawna does it is better for her because it works for her. She's relaxed. She's not uptight and you know, and like rigid about it in her mind. It works for her. It works for her flow of life. She's relaxed. She's calm. She's in her highest self. She's in her authentic self, right? But she's modified the program too to make it work for her. Nobody here is doing this cookie cutter exactly the same. So I just want to reassure you, KG, that you fit in here a lot more than you realize. So I hope that helps. Mark Filatro, Filiatro says, this is a big one. I live in Appalachia. The population here is way above the national average for obesity and diabetes. When I enter some stores or restaurants, it seems that every single person is morbidly obese and looking severely unhappy. And many are using scooters and other devices they are too young for. My heart breaks. It seems they need bright line eating more than any other American demographic needs it. The problem is that most of these people simply don't read books and have not been to college. They couldn't understand the lectures and they don't put so much stock in science. They certainly don't have much money. I say most, not all. I have been pondering, how can the bright line eating movement reach them? Great question, Mark. So, you know, starting next week, the core membership is going to be $20 a month, right? Anyone who is thinking deeply about this knows that someone who's not doing bright line eating spends more than $20 a month on excess food that they don't need. So it's now financially within reach of all those folks. Truly, you know, truly $20 a month is financially within reach. And my hunch is that the way bright line eating is going to spread into most communities is that there will be someone in that community who finds it, figures out how to work it within that population with those specific needs and so forth. And then they become the emissary to help it spread. And Mark, it sounds like that might be you. You live in Appalachia, right? So I appreciate that you're asking. I appreciate that you're asking. As you do it, as you live bright, you become a walking billboard, right? And most people won't want what you have, but some might. Some might. I'll keep thinking about that, Mark. I appreciate you. All right. Christy says, Dear Susan, I just joined the All Access membership after losing 14 pounds on the 14-day challenge. I'm wondering if my story is similar to others. I didn't gain my weight until my late 40s and early 50s surrounding menopause. I would love to connect with other people who are in a similar situation. I've always been a food addict, but had a very fast metabolism and was not overweight until more recently. Menopause has brought on not only the weight, but also my inner food addict that's always been there. How can I find other people who are in a similar situation? Just post, you'll find them. The biggest group of people right now doing bright line eating are in the BLEO, the Bright Line Eating official Facebook group. Yeah, so just post exactly what you just typed here and see who replies. You're not alone. I've heard this story before. Margie says, I signed up for the 5-year membership. Do I need to also pay for the Bright Line Freedom Circle membership? Yeah, that's a separate membership. Everett is taking his business outside of Bright Line Eating, and Freedom Circle stuff is separate. So if you want your contact with Everett in that way to continue, then keep re-upping that. And he will be launching something I think very similar to that, to Freedom Circle people in January or February. Linda, but if your renewal is up and you want to stay in, just renew. Margie says, oh no, Linda says, has the rubric for scoring the food sensitivity quiz changed? When I took it in 2018, I was a 6 and now I'm an 8. Am I really a 7? So there's a vlog, but I think it's older than 2018, where we did change how we scored it, but I think it was before that. You might have just changed how you answer the questions, or food addiction is progressive. You might have been monkeying around with your food in the last few years or not, or whatever. And your food addiction might have progressed. That happens. Addiction is a progressive disease. So you might be an 8 now. Anna Lee says, I joined boot camp in May, but dropped out. I've continued to follow you, listening to the vlog every week. I love the science of addiction and the way you explain it. I've signed up for 1 year all access, but I'm an introvert, and all the talk about the homeroom and Facebook are freaking me out, and the fear is rising at the thought of it all and putting myself out there. And Ali, it's very gentle, sweetheart. You don't need to participate a lot. You don't need to do any of that stuff. It's all based on your choice. And I just want to remind you something about introverts, right? What you're talking about, I believe, is an isolation part. I want you to just breathe into your highest self and recognize that as an introvert, you need plenty of time to recharge by yourself. And there's a difference between nourishing alone time, where you're doing activities that are soulfully replenishing for you, right? Whether it's reading a book or taking a bath or tidying up, or right, the time that you need that's alone, that's nourishing for you, versus staying away from support when support is what you need, and doing things like eating to numb out when you're away from support that you need, right? Those are very different things, right? Nobody's trying to take your nourishing alone time away from you. And keep in mind that introverts also benefit when they have a small number of very deep relationships, and when they increase their connection with those deep relationships a little bit, they get happier. So it's not the case that introverts don't benefit from more human connection. It's just human connection of a certain kind, not too many people, and yeah, just not too much, right? But fewer relationships that go deeper, along with plenty of time to recharge, right? So you're in control, sweetheart. You're at the helm. You don't need to be in that homeroom posting all the time. Nobody's forcing you to do anything, all right? Jamie says, if I'm focused on the boot camp and dabble in holiday, will resume be in the archives when I am ready and waiting for maintenance? Yes, it will. It will, Jamie. Yeah, exactly. Jasmine Santoyo says, will my discounted annual membership price remain the same when I renew my membership next year? Yes. Can I upgrade to the 5-year membership at a later date, or is the 5-year plan only being offered this week? It's only being offered this week. Debbie H says, where do I sign up for boot camp, and what else does this include? Thanks. So the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp is the foundation for your Bright journey, and it's available in the All Access membership. And when you sign up for your All Access membership, that's the first thing you'll want to start with, is the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp. It includes 2 months of training on how to eat bright, the daily pattern of living that you need to set up to live bright, some relationship structures like buddies and mastermind groups that are part and parcel of bright living. It teaches you how to eat in restaurants, how to travel, oh my gosh, how to prepare your food. So there's a lot of training in it, and a lot of it is about the mindset of living bright. Like, how do you actually, it takes your hand and it walks you through your first 2 bright months. It starts you off really strong with a really clean start planning and preparation process, so all your ducks are in a row when you start. And where can you sign up for that? Just scroll below this video and click on the Join the All Access membership, and you will have access to that. Pat Hansel says, I had finished boot camp, but did not get to my goal weight. What do you suggest I do now in this new system? Go back and do boot camp again? Help, please. After watching this past 4 days, I feel so motivated to get the rest of my weight off. Thanks, SPT. Oh my goodness, Pat. So I do not recommend that you go back to boot camp. What I suggest you do now is sign up for the All Access membership And then start on Tuesday with us in Brightline Holiday. Brightline Holiday. Now you'll have access to the boot camp. And the only thing you might want to do in the boot camp is go through the planning and preparation process again. So once you're in the hub, go to the boot camp and go through the planning and preparation process, okay? That will launch you solidly back on your Bright journey, okay? And then just stay in touch with us with Brightline Holiday. And come January, do Reboot Resume with us. That's your roadmap. Do you got that? So Pat, you got that? Do the planning and preparation process. So first step, sign up for the All Access membership. Go into the boot camp and do the planning and preparation process to start off again. Join us for Brightline Holiday. It starts Tuesday. And when that ends, do Reboot Resume. You will be launched, rocketed into the fourth dimension. You'll have that weight off, and more importantly, truly be solidly living bright, right? I want you to realize that you didn't do it right the first time. You were doing it as a diet, right? This has got to be a way of life, or you'll just get the weight off and then gain it back, right? It's got to be different. It's got to be different this time. You got this. Okay, done with questions. Closing comments. Sue says, thank you so much, Susan. I have loved these live sessions. So inspirational. I'm here to infinity and beyond. My recovery is for life, not just for Christmas. Well put, Sue. Sylvie Cusson says, hi, Susan. I've joined Brightline Eating in 2019, but lost 90 pounds. Oh, I lost 90 pounds, but need to resume and get the support because I've gained 20. I know this program works. I'm a 10 plus. Thank you for doing this. I was not able to afford Bright Lifers before, but this is amazing and affordable. Very grateful. Thank you and your team for doing this. Sylvie, you are so welcome. Welcome back into the fold, my dear. We're doing this for you. You're exactly who we were hoping to scoop up back into our fold by doing the membership this way. So fabulous. Linda R says, I've joined All Access for 1 year and I'm so looking forward to the coming classes. Fabulous, Linda. So excited to be with you. Karen says, I came through the boot camp in September of 2018. I lost 35 pounds and I felt great. I didn't know where to go from there. I wobbled for a while. I've regained during COVID all but 8 pounds during COVID. I didn't connect well. I'm really timid with social media. I'm going to start strong by connecting. I have 5 bright days now. Thank you for this new beginning. I've been here for all of these live events. Karen, you're amazing. Happy 5 days back, and good for you for connecting. Good for you. You're not alone. People find it very hard to connect, but you know what? Just a little bit goes a long way. You got this, sweetheart. Shawna Keele Murph says, Susan, I forgot to tell you how excited I am that this all access will include courses like Reboot Resume and Grit that I never could afford. I feel like I've found the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Being a Bright Lifer was totally worth the price, but all the courses, such a serious deal. XO, XO, XO. Shawna, you're such a dear. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy at the thought of you having access to Brightline Grit and Reboot Resume and all the courses. So happy about that, sweetheart. And Bonnie Z says, the interview with Shawna gave me the courage to become an all access member. Shawna, you've done it again. You've helped another person. Look at that. All right, my dears, we're going to end on that beautiful note. Our next live event together will be tomorrow, same time, 2 p.m. Eastern. And it's about how to make the mental shift from the weight loss phase to the maintenance phase. How to make the mental shift from the weight loss phase to the maintenance phase. So you'll find the link to that on the concierge page, of course. And it's tomorrow, Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We are coming into the home stretch, my dears. Bright Ticket Week is coming to a close. So if you haven't made your decision yet, it's time to really think about it and figure out what you're doing. We're going to be here for another 2 days, and then Brightline Holiday starts on Tuesday. I love you. I love you. I love you.